Ooh. Is this not plugged in yet? Son of a bitch. I didn't plug in my mic yet. Good morning, everyone. Happy Thursday to you. It's a brisk day today. I had to go, rarely does this happen, but I had to go start my car early and warm it up. I don't know if that mic's coming through. There we go. There we are. I don't know where we're at now. No, on time. Pardon me. As you're coming in, if you could help me out, hit that like button while we wait for Felice so we can actually get started, since this is not my live, it's Felice's live. Everybody knows that. But if you could hit that like button, hit that share button as we get started, that would be just oh my god, it would make me so happy. I would be the happiest man on earth. I messed with my cam early. I'm all stuffed up this morning. It's been a fun morning. We have a lot of news to share. Not late. Fuck you, Discord. Not late. I was 9:30. Hit the button. Go live. Sorry, Mohammed. I'm not doing live battles. I don't get. Did any of you guys watch those battles? That's got to be a thing like just for teenagers, right? It's like just a thing for young teenagers, but potentially, I guess, like old folks. It's got to be young teenagers and old folks. Does anybody watch them? I don't even really know what they are. Okay, good, Felice. Can you? If I had a battle with Felice, that would go poorly. Felice, want to have a battle?
No, God, what is going on with those? I can't do that.
I don't know, but every day,
I don't know how people do that.
Every day, TikTok is sending me a message like, "Hey, make sure get ready for your battles this weekend." First of all, don't call it a battle. I don't think it's a battle. It's
my entire life is a battle. I don't need extra conflict.
I'm just trying to make it through one more day.
Yeah, literally.
Did you by chance read Jenna Ellis's op-ed that I put in there yet? I'm really hoping you haven't.
No, I haven't, but I'm
Thank
excited.
God.
I saw. I love how when you add to the outline, like your bullet points are funny. Right?
What's funny about my bullet points? Oh, because I do my own. Oh,
yeah,
I put
just your stream, the way your mind works. It's funny.
Yeah, I try and put like the thought that I had, my initial thought, when I put it on there. Yours are so professional. Yours are like a recap of what happened. It's like, here's a couple talking points.
Yours are like, this piece of shit.
Yeah, mine's like, look at this dumb fuck Jenna Ellis. I think, what did I say? Jenna Ellis writes worst hit piece ever. I think that's what it was. Yeah, I think that's fine. They are very different. But good morning. What are we drinking this morning?
Coffee. Look, I have Darth Vader on my sweatshirt.
Well, isn't that fun? I have on a Snuggie. Want to know what the temperature was in my house today? I forgot to turn on my heater last night. Because it just heats too quickly.
What is it? It was cold this
58 degrees inside of my house this morning.
We're not talking about real cold. We're talking about, Arizona cold.
58 inside of your house is cold. There's nobody that's going to be like, I keep my house at 58 degrees. Nobody does that. I love it, though. I have all my blankets, and I sleep with a hood on. It's great. It would be really tricky if somebody broke in to my house and tried to find me. It would maybe just look like a pile of blankets. It'd be tricky to find me. That's my strategy.
No, when I went to PTSD camp, long story, yes, this is a true story. I have PTSD. But anyways, part of like the classes we had to take were like, one was called sleep. Shut up.
Why is it a camp? Why is it a camp?
Well, because it was a sleepaway camp. Shut up. Anyways.
Sorry.
No, it was
thought
like
you were
me.
joking
Okay,
at
if you
first.
know, I'm gonna tell you, and you're gonna feel bad. It was like me and like veterans for more. Okay, at like a camp for people with PTSD. Anyways, but we had to take this class called sleep hygiene, and I learned that you're supposed to like sleep. Like it's about creating a routine, because people with PTSD like are insomniacs.
Yeah.
It's about creating like a routine and environment to like induce sleep. And like one of the things, it's supposed to be cold, and you're supposed to like bundle up.
Yeah, well, I've heard that, yeah, if you a cooler temperature when you're sleeping is better for like a good night's sleep. That's what they say.
PTSD camp, does it cause it or fix it? Great question.
What did it do?
No, it actually really truly helped me a lot. It helped a lot. It just gives you tools to like manage it.
I ordered one of those. Have you seen it? There's ads for it all the time. It was on Shark Tank. It's like a sleep. It's just like a full length.
A
I don't
weighted
know.
blanket?
It's
I
not a
have one
weighted
of those.
blanket. It's like your feet are in it. It's just a blanket that covers you entirely. You just step into it, you pull it up, and then you just. It's like a
I would
full
like
body
that.
straitjacket, but with like
I
maybe a
don't
little
like
more
when my
give.
feet stick out from the blanket. I feel like they're going to be
Worst.
grabbed. Yeah,
Oh
I don't like
no!
it.
You think they're gonna be grabbed?
Like, but yes, by something or
Okay.
someone. You
I
don't
was think
ever think that?
No, I was thinking I hate when my feet are out because they get cold. I've never thought that somebody was gonna grab my feet while I was sleeping.
Fucked up childhood.
Yeah. Plus, that's the only downside to medicating herbally is that it's nice. It'll like if you're stressed or if you have anxiety, it'll take that down. But then also every sound is for sure somebody breaking into your house. It's like a kind of a tricky balance that I haven't
I
learned yet.
try not to feel the paranoia that comes with THC because I just decided, I'm not going to let intrusive thoughts in. So it's become now the one time I'm like, nope, not doing it. No negative thoughts. We're not doing this.
Wait,
So I just,
you just turn off your paranoia when you're. That's
yeah,
crazy. That's crazy.
yeah.
That's amazing. How did you do that?
Well, like PTSD camp, we had to meditate and all this stuff. Shut
Stop
up.
it.
I'm
You
not
know,
telling you anything about my life ever
do
again.
you get a
Like, you're
do
so
you get a
lucky to
commi-
meet the new and improved me.
do you get a commission if you get other people to go to PTSD camp? This feels like
No,
this is a
no.
TikTok ad.
A lot of people want to go.
Yeah, a lot of people
It's
are
quite
saying.
exclusive. You have to be really crazy.
Yeah, is there like an audition process?
I don't even remember. But I
It's like
remember being like, oh my God, is this? And I thought like I was the sanest one there. And then it became clear that like other people, like veterans who had been to like Nam, were like, there, weird girl. Like,
Yeah.
calm down. Like, and I was like, wait a minute, am I
Get
the
it
insane
together.
one at this camp? Like literally, I thought I was like, oh, these people really, they're not well. And then they started like helping me.
That's got to be a brutal realization of like, look at all these
When
crazy
the horrors
people,
of
and they're just
war are
looking at you.
affecting, yeah, when the horrors of war are affecting people less.
They're like, you know what? I can manage my PTSD now that I've met Felice. My problems
Yeah,
don't
they're
seem
like,
so bad.
oh,
We're
people have it
good.
real bad.
Yeah. In fact, send me back. Send me back to war. Let's go do it again.
I would go.
You would go to war or to PTSD camp.
I told you I would go to prison. Like that should give you an idea. Like
That's terrifying. I've heard that before. I've heard somebody say, "Hey, if you ever need to hide a body, I'm your person." As,
that was not me for the record.
It was not you. It was not you. Was
Not-
PTSD camp like? Was it actually camping? Like you were up in the mountains?
Yeah, it was like, well, we weren't camping in tents, but yeah, it was in like a serene environment. Because that's the point. People need calm and nature. It's just showing you how to like live your life in a way that, is conducive to peace.
How did you find this PTSD camp?
Just
would
like
never have thought-
therapy.
I would never have thought to like
Because
look out for a PTSD camp.
Yeah, my therapist was like, hey, like because I'm just like, oh, like everyone has a bad childhood. And she was like, no, you were not abused. You were tortured and you need to go somewhere. And like, there's a place where you can like learn how. And I'm so much better.
She sent you
I
to
was
the
just
mountains.
like, no, isn't this how everyone's childhood is? And she's like, no, it's not.
I think that's one of the things about therapy that I didn't really understand when I first went is that like they don't have the answers. So I expected it to be like every movie I'd ever seen where they were just and I remember
Isn't
the first
that the worst part?
Yeah, like the first time I went into like real depth on something. Have you done brain spotting? Have you ever done brain spotting?
What is brain spotting? Tell me.
It's
I
like
want to know. I've done
it's like a
EMDR.
It's similar. It's like a part basically like they'll point like they'll use something to like point to parts of your body and you're just supposed to sit there and feel and then just say like whatever thought comes to your mind. I don't remember why that works, but I just remember at the end of like a really long session looking across, I like looked up like ready and she was like, whoa. That was it. She's like, that's a lot. I was like, wait a minute.
What?
I just tell you
What
things,
happened?
and you don't give me the answer. She's like, yeah, I don't have the answer for that. I was like, oh no, oh no,
like
what have I done?
My first therapist, like, well, this is what happened to me. I told you I almost died like 5 years ago. I was like in a coma for a while. And when you came out, like, I was talking about all this crazy stuff, not like what had just happened, but like my childhood. I was like telling the doctors relentlessly about stories from my childhood. And then like they make
Just
you go
any
to
doctor that you could just.
no, yeah, because like they tell you like, oh, this is normal, it's okay, like you create new neural pathways. Like if you were pushing things down or blocking them out, like you might not be able to block that stuff out anymore, and that's why you think you need to keep talking about this. Like I was basically just like, I was abused, just like saying that over and over.
You're
And they're
just
like,
sharing.
when? And I'm like, when I was a child. And so I went to like a trauma group like in the hospital, and I remember just being like, so wait, I don't get it, like how do you know, like how do you get on the path to healing? And she's like, you'll figure it out. And I'm like, I don't understand. Like,
Yeah,
I have
what?
no idea how to like get better or like what it looks like if you are getting better, but I totally get it now. Like, yeah,
It,
you just have to sit with your trauma, and it's not about therapy, it's not about a third party. Like you have to face the shit that you don't want to face about yourself, like the stuff that you, when you turn on loud music to like drown out your own thoughts, like you have to sit with it and
it's the
like
worst.
contend
So
with it and
hard.
make peace with it. Yeah,
That's so
it's the
hard.
worst.
That's the crazy thing about when you do go through that stuff, just understanding how powerful your brain is, and like it's your brain's ability to protect itself, and then like how that stuff can affect other parts of your life that you never realize. It's like you go through a whole lifetime and you didn't realize that like so many of the things you did, you didn't really like, you didn't choose to do that. It was just your brain like, no, no, sorry, I got to turn off my.
Okay, well, he's gone. He couldn't
I'm
handle
back.
this
I had to
conversation.
turn off my notifications. Is my head? Do I look normal to you?
Your head does look wide.
All I can see is this eye. This circle is all I can see now.
Oh no, you look normal.
Yeah. Okay. That's all. First of all, what the fuck then? What? I was
That's
asking
like
about
how
the camera, and
David
you're
can't
like,
be on live if he can't stare at his own face. He like freaks out.
wait. When I asked if I look normal, you're like, your head looks wide. What was that all about? You just decided to start attacking my looks?
Never mind.
Is that what this was about?
I thought this was something else. I got confused.
Yeah. Anyways.
Justin, 85, are you opposition or did you want us to fix? Or is this about therapy? Either.
Yeah. Yeah. Let us know, Justin. RTP Kirk? What does that mean? RTP Kirk. What's that? Any idea? RTP Kirk.
RTP Kirk. Kick?
Are they trying to kick me?
Oh, he said no.
No.
I don't know what's
Wait,
going
what
on
what
right
what do you
now.
mean no, Justin? What question did you ask him? Cameron
Oh, I
Kirk.
said, asked him if he
Oh,
was opposition.
it's Cameron Kirk.
He
I
wanted
get
to
it.
ask about David. What?
He did?
That's what he's saying. I'm just reading the comments.
Yeah,
I
come
wanted to
on.
ask
You can
about-
you can ask Felice about
Yeah, you
David. That's fine.
can-
Yeah. What's up, Justin?
Hey.
Justin.
Can you hear me?
Yes,
Yep.
it's a
Gotcha.
lovely fish.
Gotcha. Yeah, thank you. It's a 52-pound cobia.
Damn right it is.
I was listening to you guys and David, I don't know, late the other night, and you guys were trying to explain to him how no matter what Trump tries to find, you know what I mean? Even if he finds evidence that the election's rigged, it's still not going to help him.
Yeah.
And the next morning, at like 5 o'clock in the morning, New Jersey time, I joined his live, and he's telling all of his minions the same thing. And I went in there for an hour, and I was trying to explain to him exactly what you guys explained to him, and he's sitting there trying to make fun of me and Barrister, saying he clowns. So I just don't get why you guys do it. I just don't understand.
I'll be honest. Since that night, I've had him blocked until yesterday when I accidentally went into a live that he was in because I was mutuals with somebody else. I don't know what the fuck he was talking about. He had this document behind him. I think it was an email from maybe the Trump campaign. Like, I think that they love his story, that he thinks that he's made it. And there was like 3 other people there going, I love the work that you're doing. It's so important. Keep fighting. Don't let anybody tell you you're crazy. I'm like, no, let them tell you you're crazy. Listen to the people who are saying you're crazy. So I haven't seen him since then, but
Yeah,
it appears that he's got an email now from the Trump campaign.
well, the best part is
What?
there's three types of them. There's him when he argues with you guys, and then there's like, a kind of moderate version. And then depending on like how low his followers are, he'll go full conspiracy theory like down the deepest holes depending on who's in his lives. And I didn't know if you guys knew that. Like I love
Yeah.
watching him when there's only like three people in there because he gets really unhinged.
Oh yeah, you listen. You just answered your own question. Absolutely. Like some of it is performative, right? Like you said, David requires a lot of attention. David was silenced a lot as a child. Like he says, he'll say it publicly. The worst thing for David is being put on mute or silence.
Yeah.
He needs people to listen to him, and when he doesn't get that, then he gets more extreme. But I think yeah, I'm fully aware because I've been asked. You're not the first person that has asked me. I get lots of messages about this. I am aware that when I talk to David, he is one way, and when I am not there, he is completely another. I am fully aware of that phenomenon.
Sad. It's really sad. And like I just don't know like what really happened to most of these people that they have to go for all this stuff. And it's almost like they made math their identity, so they can't admit that they're wrong. And it's almost like we try
Well,
to help them and we push them further down the rabbit hole in a sense too. Like I don't know what to do.
yeah, I think that I don't know that it's like quite that. I think it's a little more simple than that. A lot of people confuse agreement with the fact that or I guess with their facts being right. So the problem that David has is that he has different groups of people telling him he's right and he's wrong, and he does care. Like he does listen to that. Like David rides that emotional roller coaster a little bit. So if he has 5 or 6 people in there like saying, "Yeah, David, you're right. Don't listen to him," he'll gas up. But that's the problem. It's not like a David problem. I like David a lot, actually. I've really
Me
enjoyed
too.
my relationship with David. It's more of a problem with our how fucked up our political system has become with Donald Trump in it, where since Donald Trump jumped into politics, we no longer can figure out what's true, right? We no longer can like sit across the aisle with a Republican, lay out facts, and be like, okay, here's the facts, here's what we do about it. Let's like lay out the facts, and the first thing is, where'd you get that? Oh, the internet? The internet can't be trusted. It's like, fuck, man,
CNN.
like literally nothing can be trusted unless Donald Trump said it. That's the real problem. And that's the part that is scary, is that David, I think David's a good person, and I think David's doing his absolute best, and I think David believes what he says. I don't think it's like I don't think it's some sort of game to him. I think he's authentically doing what he says he wants to do, and says exactly what he believes. But unfortunately, he's a pawn in this little game, and until there's not millions of people agreeing, it's going to continue to be a problem. Until it's down to just like a few people, it's going to continue to be a problem.
Well, thank you for
Yeah.
having me up. And
Yeah,
yeah, I'm going to try to push for the Trump campaign. It's going to be
thanks.
interesting. Have a good one.
Bye,
Yeah, see ya.
Justin. Yeah, I
It's
think
weird.
it's the battle for reality that we're in, right? Like
Yeah,
there I can't remember what the book's called. It's called something like that, like the battle for reality. And it's just in like when you think about the 80s or the 90s, there was one, you know what I mean? We all got the same information, right? Like
yeah,
we watched the evening news and we could disagree about opinions about the same news we all saw.
right.
But now there's two separate sets of truth. And unless you have, you want to make it your business like us to go find the truth and to vet it, like people are hearing this on the news, like, and then we're demonizing them for what? Taking it at face value? Like,
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And again, like just flooding the airwaves with different sort.
shit.
Yeah, when I was at the gym today, I couldn't find a clip. I've tried to find it because I was riding a bike and Fox News was up on one of the TVs, and this is how far we've gone. There was some former Giants player saying that the reason the Giants didn't sign Shohei Ohtani is because of the homelessness in San Francisco. And because he didn't want to he didn't want to pay the taxes.
Oh my
It's like,
God.
first of all, he's in LA now. By the way, same state. I don't know if you guys know that's the same state, same taxes. Also big homeless problem. It was like, no, he went to LA because LA gave him $85 trillion. And like when you live in LA, you also have all these corporate sponsors. And LA's a better team. That's what happened. Was that Buster Posey? Is that who it was? Please tell me that wasn't Buster Posey. I love Buster Posey. That's stupid. I'm a big Giants fan. Anyways, but that's the reality we're in now. That like, you turn on the news. By the way, and right next to it, CNN was Charles Barkley. I was watching the news, and
I love Charles Barkley.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm a Charles Barkley fan. He went to Alabama, or Auburn.
Yeah, I like Barkley too. Barkley will admit when he's wrong. I like that about Barkley. He'll admit that he's like not the most well informed, but he does his best to try and find the right answer. I agree with you. I like Barkley, but
he was a good athlete. I like the way he played sports too. Like he made things happen.
The round mound of rebound. You remember when in the 80s when you could just like call somebody fat as like a nickname? There was a guy named Fat Lever. Remember him? Remember Fat Lever? And it was because when he was a kid, he was like, he was a little hefty. So his name was just Fat. That was it was a different time back then. And Charles Barkley's nickname was the round mound of rebound.
It made no sense how he got so many rebounds.
No. Well, he's got a wide base, and he was able to box out really well. But I wanted to get to Jenna Ellis because you didn't read it yet.
I'm excited.
Jenna Ellis is having like this crisis of conscience where she wants to straddle this line of continuing the lies of Donald Trump while also calling Donald Trump a liar and scary. So she wrote is this it?
Oh, she wrote this?
I think, or no, she posted this. Sorry, oh, wait, I thought this was her the whole time. Did she not write it?
No.
Ah, son of a bitch. I thought it was her the whole time. I think maybe she just posted it. But let me just give you this anyways. This is somebody who is, the title is Why Trump Should Drop Out Now, a Conservative Republican Viewpoint. And I just wanted to go through these numbers and tell you like how confused Republicans are or how unaware they are of how numbers work. So what Trump did right. This first, if you're ever going to criticize Trump and you're a Republican, you have to spend about 15 minutes talking about how great he is first before you take your lukewarm approach to why maybe somebody should consider not voting for him. But what they said is he placed 3 judges on the Supreme Court, slashed taxes, and canceled thousands of government-imposed regulations. By the way, some of those led to some horrific things. And those 2 actions spurred vigorous economic growth while bringing inflation down to just over 2% a year. Okay, well, 2% inflation happened during COVID. That was COVID that drove it down. But, of course, that's Trump. But now watch how they just spin these facts. He reduced the flow of illegal immigrants from 297,000 to 143,000 per year. Again, taking the highest number and then going COVID. And this was an average. So at the end of COVID, right, there was no immigration. So they took the average immigration, had a year and a half-ish of no immigration, and then called that his number. And then they're like, by the way, Biden's numbers are high, 2.76 million, 3.2 million for 2021.
Yeah, but when you do coups in places like Venezuela, then the numbers increase.
Correct. Now, watch how they say that, because they can't just completely lie. Trump built over 200 miles of effective border walls. What does that mean?
Walls? Yeah, no, effective.
We're just for a bunch of people who start every political conversation with define a woman. They sure use the word wall loosely. Like fences are walls, mountains are walls, hills are walls. Everything's a wall.
Natural.
So natural,
topographic barriers.
Rivers are walls. Everything is a wall. Like 200 miles of effective border wall. What the fuck are you talking about? He built 14 miles. Where they get... And remember, this is not a puff piece for Trump. This is a piece about Trump saying why we shouldn't vote for... Or why he should drop out. And they start off by just lying about all his accomplishments and saying they're better than they really were. and would have built many more miles if construction had not been blocked repeatedly by liberal judges and a Democratic Congress that refused to appropriate money for a wall. I also love this about Republicans. And Jamie Raskin one time tried to correct Marjorie Taylor Greene on this, but she's too stupid to get it. He's like, listen, this is a Democrat part. Like, we're not the Democratic Party. It's not a we're the Democrat Party. So, like, a Democratic Congress.
No, he said it the other way around.
No.
The Democrats want to be called the Democratic Party. He was showing her how to conjugate a verb or conjugate that word.
No, not on that one, was it?
As an adjective. Yeah.
Well, anyways, a Democratic Congress is great. Isn't that what we want? Is a Democratic Congress?
Yeah, but she doesn't. That is like it is. It's they don't like the word democratic, so they don't want to say it because we're a constitutional republic to them.
But I'm just saying this is anyways, it's silly.
Yeah, neither here nor there.
So then, in addition, President Trump negotiated Abraham Accords. And what did the Abraham Accords do? Established normal diplomatic relations between Israel and 4 neighboring Arab countries and gave hope for continuing peace in the Middle East. Like, almost immediately after, the Middle East just descended into chaos. But for that, I guess, like, for those few moments. By the way, what did those peace agreements do? What's the point of a peace agreement? How good is a peace agreement if it requires you to stay in office forever? Is that what they're saying? Like, well, Biden took office, so the peace agreement didn't count anymore?
Well, I mean, plus it didn't even involve the Palestinian Authority, right? Or anyone involved?
No, Palestine was not included in any of that.
How can you agree to peace if you're not there?
It was four other countries that basically just agreed that they were gonna work on trade, and they also all agreed, like, fuck Palestine. That was kind of like the whole thing. Is we don't really recognize Palestine, and maybe we should open up trade together.
Exactly.
Oh, your friend Deep Throw is back.
Yes. Deep Throw.
Felice, I'm your friend. That's
Yeah.
hi.
Yep.
Hey, I was trying to get on T, and I don't think I've been on there as Deep Throw, but T, the creator.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah,
Rudy.
I requested, and he kept
I mean, not Rudy.
like dropping me.
Oh, man. Your reputation might be beating you to the punch.
But how do people, if I wasn't on there, how do people know that I was, because they look at my profile, or is that?
Well, look.
How did you know that I've been on there before? I was under a different name, I think, last time, Judy Ruliani, but I appreciate you letting me up.
You're welcome. What would you like to talk about?
Trump. I don't know. That's this topic. I don't think Republicans hate freedom. We want freedom. We want less government. We want strong borders, strong military.
Could you point to a policy Republicans are advocating for that would be a smaller government?
Well, that's part of the conservatism, right?
I know, but no, it's not. That's the problem. They just keep telling you that it's part of what they believe, and you just keep believing it, despite the fact that every chance they get an opportunity, they just expand the role of government.
Yeah.
Yeah. Conservatism wouldn't be reducing the size of government, because conservatism is staying the same, right? So conservatism is just it makes sense. Conservatism is basically like, don't do anything. It's a very strange very strange way to live your life.
Oh, yeah.
When you're the party that just complains all the time, but then you're also like, we can't change. It's a weird thing.
You're thinking conservatism is anti-progressive.
Yeah, if you're gonna let's say you're going hiking.
That's what it means.
Yeah. If you're going hiking and you conserve energy, does that mean you're going to use more energy, or are you going to save that energy?
Well, I'm sorry. Can you repeat that? Because I was
Don't
thinking of something else.
don't worry about it. It's okay. But yeah, your party doesn't give a shit about small government. I hate to tell you. In fact, they're currently running on dramatically expanding the role of the executive branch in our government. Can I just ask you this, Deep Throat? Like,
Well, because you're thinking
wait,
of the.
wait a minute. Let me ask you a question.
Yes, sir.
Do you know why you're a conservative?
Um, to answer that point blank, no, I can't say why, because I was born and raised a Democrat, a blue collar union worker type household.
Okay, and now you're a white collar.
No, 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 I'm not white collar, but
Oh, okay.
I just saw an outsider that wasn't going to be bought out wants to take care of the
Coming
corruption
down
of
the
our.
escalator.
Yeah, and
Yes,
you.
down the escalator, exactly, police. And I've never, yeah. I mean, before that, I loved Clinton. I voted for Obama twice. I was young, but I'm 55 now. But Reagan had a good reputation and a bad one. But with the air traffic control and different things, but he did good things. But I
You
mean,
you understand though
up
that
until
so hold
up,
on. So understanding all of that and I get it. Like I understood the people that looked at Trump and thought here's something new. Let's try something new. He is technically an outsider. He's claiming that he's going to finance his own campaign. He's claiming he's not going to take money from other sources. And it's like, okay, yeah, like I like that. I like all of that. But then, like, how are you looking at this 7 years later, where he didn't do any of that? He did take corporate money all the time. He didn't fund his own campaign. He didn't drain the swamp. He didn't do any of those things that you guys thought. Like, I'm just wondering why your opinion of him hasn't changed after watching him for 7 years not be anything like the person he pretends he is.
you know what? It's probably more of a psychology thing. If somebody keeps coming down and telling you don't touch something when you're a kid,
Yeah.
you're going to want to touch it. You know what I mean?
Lauren
And
Boebert has a similar
Felice, the
thought
picture in
process.
the back, I don't know which
How
is
I feel
cuter.
about
You,
women.
I don't know the picture in the back or you was cuter. I can't,
All right. All right.
but
Okay.
I
Stace.
appreciate you guys letting me up because
Yeah, but we're letting you up to talk to you, so you got to keep talking to us. I want to
no, no,
know.
no.
Yeah, I want
And
to know
wait, let
why.
me give a
Okay.
disclaimer. Let me give a disclaimer. Whenever I come on here, I am unbelittable. Belittable. You cannot belittle me. There's no way.
All right.
Unbelittable.
I appreciate
Belittle.
that. That's a hell of a disclaimer. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Belittleable.
All right.
Belittle.
Belittleable.
I just
I don't
made that
know.
up today.
What do you do? What do you do for work, Deep Throat? Do you work?
Yeah, I work at a paper mill. I am stock prepper operator and it's like
You
eighty
work at a pay.
thousand dollars a year.
You
Huh?
work at a paper mill? I lived in a town that had a paper mill, and it made the entire town smell like shit. Paper mills
Yeah,
smell weird.
some of the byproducts can smell like shit because they make yeast out of some of the byproducts and it smells not
Yeah.
good.
This was
Yeah,
like in a valley, and the stench from the paper mill would just stay in the valley. And I lived there for like 3 months, 4.5 months actually. And when I left, I got headaches, and they said it's literally because you get so used to like that stench and that smell that when you leave, it's
yeah.
like you're breathing clean, like non-shitty air all the time, and it like your body has to adjust to that. So
And it could have been a pulp mill too,
yeah, it's
where
potlatch.
they, huh?
It was potlatch.
Okay. I mean, some people make the pulp, and some people we make paper, and we just ship in the pulp in
So
bales.
are you union?
Yeah.
Okay. And you okay. Do you think you would get paid more or less if you weren't union? Or do you think your benefits would be better or worse without a union?
Yeah, and that's the thing. Corporate, I mean, conservative and Democrats, I believe, have something against corporate greed. Um, I
Yeah,
mean,
but
Yeah.
yeah, but
Yes.
me personally,
right, but the question I asked was, do you
yeah.
think you would get paid more and have better benefits if you didn't have a union?
that has to do with if the corporation
I'm
is
just
fair.
asking you. Yeah, I'm just asking you personally. Do you think?
I don't know. It has to do with the CEOs and if they're going to take care of their employees.
Well, we know that as unions have, like, as we've lowered the number of unions and as we've stripped the protections away from the workers, that the average difference between the worker and the CEO pay has skyrocketed. Like the average CEO pays 300 times the amount of the average worker. And that number largely has gone up as we've decimated unions and as we've stripped states of worker protections.
Right. And Joe Biden.
So so this is what I'm trying to say. For you as a work, like, because all I'm trying to say is I don't necessarily want to smash your ideas or like say that everything you think is wrong. I'm trying to get an idea of you, Deep Throw, of what would actually help you. And it's tricky because you work in a place where you'd need unions. If you don't have unions, you're just going to have cheap labor, probably labor that like slave labor, migrant slave labor will replace you. But because you have a union, you're protected and you can still get benefits. Voting for Republicans is advocating that you lose your union, that you lose your guaranteed benefits because they also don't think businesses should have to pay out benefits and they could potentially drop your pay. And if you have a CEO like most CEOs who their job is to make the most amount of money possible, then yeah, they're going to cut your benefits. They're going to cut your pay. They're going to get labor that's cheaper. So it's strange knowing that that's where you work. And yet you're like, I'm a Trump person. Like, I like Trump because everything he's advocating for would hurt you.
No, I understand that. We had I forgot his name in Wisconsin here a few years back. He was a Republican governor. God
Talking
darn
about
it.
governor?
Yeah, you must know. You probably know. I can't think of his name offhand.
Who is your
Tony Evers?
Tony Evers is now.
Well, yeah, but
He's
the
a
one
Democratic.
before him.
Are you talking about Paul Ryan? He wasn't governor. Are
No,
you talking
no,
about Paul
no,
Ryan?
no, 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 no. He ran for president too. God darn it.
Scott Walker?
Yes.
Oh yeah, yeah.
He took
He's
away.
awful.
Yes, he took away. He made it the right to work, so where you don't even have to join.
Yeah, that's the
unions.
worst.
Yeah, that's what they
And
want
then
to do. They want to do that. They want to get rid of unions,
Yeah.
dude. So why are you
And-
voting for them? Wait, why are you voting for them?
Well, I mean, it's so individual, different.
No, they
No.
all want. Every Republican wants to get rid of unions.
Deep Throat, do you know how lucky you are? In the privatized workforce in the United States, only 6% of workers have the absolute privilege of being in a union and having any protection like you have against their corporation. They are, and think about it. Republicans want to get just 6% of people in this country are in a union, and they're not even happy with that. They want every single union snuffed out.
I understand, and I'm not centered in on everything. I'm just here because I'm new to this TikTok, and I love to, interact. And you are awesome, Felice, and you too, Jay.
Thank you.
And I really don't want to argue. I'm not.
Well,
I
wait, we don't want to argue either. We want to have a discussion with you. And this is what it feels like right now, Deep Throw. It feels like what happened is you told us some stuff about you. It doesn't line up with the Republican Party. We're pointing that out, and that's making you a little bit uncomfortable. And so you want to change the subject. But unfortunately, this is a political live. This is what we do. We want to have these types of conversations. We want to talk to the voter, have the voter tell us what's important to them, and then maybe we can educate on where we vote. But you're voting directly against your own interests, and you're doing so because it's like a popular thing. It's a little bit of a culty thing. It's fun to throw on your Trump hat. It's fun to piss people off. Like, I get that. I really like trolling people. I think it's very fun. I understand the appeal of being MAGA. I understand how putting on a hat and walking into a grocery store and having people pissed off would be fun. And I would think it was a wonderful thing if once you put on that hat and walked through the grocery store and pissed people off, the people who represent you did good things. But instead they don't. They're awful. They're not advocating for you. They're advocating for just their billionaire buddies and Donald Trump. You guys are actually just all voting to protect Donald Trump. None of you are voting for anything that will help you. You're just actually all voting to protect Donald Trump, which is a wild thing.
Yeah, the accusations are pretty strong. I mean, if you want to paint it with a broad brush, but I mean, maybe get some Biden hats out there and fight the cause. It's like,
No, because we're not idiots. I don't like Joe Biden. I want Joe Biden to step down. I don't think he's like he's done some good things as president, honestly, but I'm not a big Joe Biden fan. And even if I was a big Joe Biden fan, I would not be wearing like a Joe Biden hat, be going to Joe Biden rallies, make my entire personality Joe Biden. What's happened is with Trump and the MAGA movement, because Trump is the name, Trump is the word, MAGA is the word. There's so many people who just are like, I'm part of this movement, and I'll let Trump tell you what he thinks, but I'm just gonna follow him blindly. And that's honestly like that's what the Republican Party is now. You guys just wait for your orders from Trump, and then you go.
but that's what makes me feel suspicious is like nobody likes Biden, but they're only voting for Biden because they hate Trump. Who
Yeah,
the hell votes? Why do you vote for a president because you hate the other one? I
it's
mean,
not no no no.
don't,
It's not
aren't
because
you
we
supposed to
hold on
vote
hold
for
on.
who you
It's
like?
not no. It's not because we hate him because of who he is. It's because we hate him for how he operates. It's because we hate his policies. We hate his divisiveness. We hate that he's a fascist, and you guys don't know that he's a fascist. We hate that he's trying to fundamentally change our country and take away the rights of people everywhere. That's what we hate. So just because we don't love Joe Biden doesn't mean like it's a weird. You understand what you're saying, right? Like you should only vote for somebody that you really love, but the guy that you love is advocating for your life to get worse. So why do you love him?
Well, I disagree that he's trying to make my life worse.
He wants to
And
abolish
and
unions.
and, this, and these rumors that uh, Republicans want to get rid of Medicaid and Social Security, that's a fallacy.
Uh, Scott Walker run on that?
Our 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 Social Security um, trust fund has been dipped into by the Democrats for years.
Not the
No.
Democrats. No, this is what has happened. The reason that they've had to dip into that money is because Republicans refuse to adequately fund it. Right? So, in order for Social Security to stay afloat, we need to have money coming into Social Security. The taxes that we pay to put into Social Security need to keep coming in. What the Republicans refuse to adjust for inflation, they refuse to increase the amount people put into Social Security. So, if you're not funding it at an appropriate level, then yeah, it'll like you're going to have to dip into it. And we're dipping into it just to pay for more Social Security benefits. That's all that
And
they've sold you a lie. Nobody dipped into it. Republicans refuse to fund it.
it's
They're lying
funny.
to you.
It's funny that I've heard that. Um,
No, wait, hold on. They are lying to you. Did you know that
well,
we could literally fix all of our problems with Social Security if we removed the cap? Meaning like that Social Security taxes are capped at a certain level. Is it 250? Is that what it is? 250,000? Yeah, after that you don't pay Social Security. If we removed
Yeah.
that cap and you had to keep paying Social Security past $250,000, we would have no problems with Social Security. But guess which party fights against that? Deep Throw.
I didn't hear
It's
the
your
question.
party. Your
Okay,
part. Yeah. Okay. Listen. If
let
you
me
make,
talk.
no, I'm gonna explain it because you didn't catch that. What you said you made about $80,000 a year. So you're being taxed on all that $80,000. You're paying Social Security taxes based on that $80,000. If you made $270,000, you would only pay the tax on $250,000 of that. If you make $1 million, you only pay taxes on $250,000. So that cap, them capping that, has limited the amount of money that would go into Social Security, and now Social Security isn't funded. Sorry, it's 160,000. Thank you. That's why I love
Yeah.
Discord.
But isn't it true that the Democrats, not to speak bad about it, but the immigrants that are coming in, illegal or
No,
not,
no, 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 no. Deep throw.
are
This is
paying
why.
are
This is
paying are paying
deep throw.
Social
Deep throw.
Security.
Deep throw. Deep throw. Hold on. This is why people get frustrated with you. I think
But it's a fact.
when I say something to you, why don't you just respond to what I just said? Don't just go to the next thing.
Okay.
Do you understand that the reason Social Security isn't funded is because Republicans refuse to fund it?
I don't know how it's not being funded when we're all paying Social Security.
Because
It's
everybody that makes
it's
over $250,000 a year, or I mean $160,000 a year, they don't pay into it after $160,000. So there's billions of dollars that should be being taxed for Social Security that aren't.
that I didn't know.
That's
I
your
just
party that did that.
that I didn't
Because
know. I
the
know.
Republicans are
I
the Republican Party is supported by rich, right? Rich, the 1% and corporations who don't want to pay taxes. The people who are getting tax breaks and welfare in this country happen to be the richest people.
Yeah, you guys are awesome. You guys are so smart. And what? I'm just
Nothing.
serious. Look
We
at how
don't.
many
We
coins I
no.
got.
Wait.
Nobody threw me a lion. Deep throw. Come on, I'm deep throw. Throw a freaking lion. Oh, I got something. But
Well,
There
anyways,
you
you
go.
guys are so cool. And I love to come in here and there. Don't want to mess up your guys'
Why are you
rhythm.
okay? Why are you okay with supporting a party who refuses to fund Social Security and who wants to eliminate the very people that are protecting your job, the
I
unions?
I
Why are you going to keep voting for people who make your life worse?
I believe that there's no way any party is going to discontinue Social Security because it would erupt a civil war if that happened. Do you believe that? You know that would happen. Right now,
but there's one party who's
we are
literally
paying for
running
the
on a
baby
platform of doing
boomers.
that.
We are paying the baby boomers Social Security checks right now. Can you imagine
Yeah.
if they discontinued it? That would be a
No, that's not what they want to do. So this maybe you don't understand what they want to do. They want to get I think Nikki Haley, this was her plan. They basically want to fund Social Security and Medicare for people that are 40 and above. So if you're already in and the cutoff's like 40, those people would still wind up getting their benefits. But the rest of us, those of us under 40, we would never have those benefits. They want to eliminate it for the future generations. They know that they can't cut it all, they can't just get rid of it now because they'll lose all their votes. But they want to get rid of it eventually.
yeah.
Well, and they
They'll
want to
probably
raise
end
the
up
working
leaving.
age, also the retirement age. They want us to work years longer than you have to right now before retirement.
What I foresee is they're going to end up giving Bitcoin to the millennials when they
Well,
retire.
what? No. No.
Ha ha, Jay! Don't
No.
cry or laugh or nothing. Just
Just
leave it be. I just
no.
threw that out there.
Yeah, I did, and I dodged it and laughed at it. No, stop voting for people who suck, dude. Why are you so like? How come every
Because
time
he
we give
thinks he's
you a
a
point?
rebel. No, this
All
is a
right, all
marketing
right,
thing.
all right,
He
Jay,
got got
Jay,
by a
Jay, Jay.
marketing campaign. Listen, Deep Throat, you got by a marketing campaign. That's basically the stuff you care about, the stuff that will keep your life, you living into in the style of what you've become accustomed to living. You should be voting with leftist candidates, that pro union, pro worker candidates. That would benefit you the most. But instead, you have this image of him coming down the escalator, this cool guy who's a rebel, who's going to drain the swamp. He didn't drain any swamp. He was in there for 4 years. All he did is give tax cuts to the rich that never sunset, that are in perpetuity.
Felice, I'm so happy you understand me. And I'm 55 and I'm so mad I have a bad back. I could only stand for like a minute or two before agonizing pain happens. And I want to work till I'm 62 or 65. But if you're anywhere around Wisconsin and you're not married, holy shit. I need somebody to vacuum and clean my litter boxes for my cats. But that's just on a personal. I'm just kidding. Jay,
Yeah,
go ahead.
but no, I'm laughing. Yeah, I was just thinking in my head that you're close to being a liberal because you have cats. Liberals. When I first became a liberal, I was like, why the
Real
fuck
men
does
have cats.
yeah, why does
Deep Throat.
everybody have cats? I was like, this is
Cats.
I
crazy.
I'm by
love
myself
cats.
and I work 12 hours, and there's no way I could have dogs because they got
Yeah,
to be let
but
out.
Deep Throat, you're talking about a paid housekeeper, not finding a woman to do free labor for you, right?
So I got to pay you to be. So
See,
are
he's
you
trying to
cool?
find a woman to do free labor at his
I mean,
house,
that's
is what's
fine. I'm
happening
not
here.
into any of that sexual. I'm
Well,
done with that. I'm done. So if you
well, I
just want
guess
to do,
in all fairness, if he is
I have a
looking for,
dishwasher.
if he is looking
He has a
for,
dishwasher, ladies. He has a dishwasher. Don't worry, ladies. There's a
he's got
dishwasher.
he's got a dishwasher and he's not going to try and enter you. It's a good deal for you.
Yeah,
But
I have a walk-in closet right from the master bedroom.
What a
So
great deal.
yeah, I mean, I guess if you're looking for a woman who's just gonna sit at home and do nothing but do the dishes and make food, like yeah, you're
no,
probably more likely to find that woman in conservative circles. You're right. Like that's
well,
where you're gonna find your pick-me's. But I just wanted to say this. Imagine, like, it sounds like your back is fucked, and that sucks. And I'm sorry.
I know.
I also have a bad back, and I also know that eventually my bad back is gonna cause me a lot more problems, which is why I advocate voting for people who would give me protection should I lose the ability to provide for myself and my family. I need universal health care. I need
Yeah.
Medicare. I need Social Security. Or I guess I don't need Medicare once I have universal health care. We need some sort of protection for people with disabilities so that they can live like an actual good life. The amount of people that we talk to every single day who literally cannot work. They are stuck at home and they cannot work. And every day there's a message in our Discord or in my DMs or something of another person on disability who is trying to decide whether or not they're going to eat or take their medication.
Jay,
Every single day. And until that stops, stop voting for Republicans. I'm going to play this clip. This is from Mike Lee. I appreciate the Discord for playing
Oh,
this.
the
But
worst.
this is the proof. What Republicans will do is on a stage, they'll pretend, and they've done this forever. They did it with abortion. We're not going to touch abortion. Roe v. Wade is settled. It's settled. It's settled. And we all took them at their word. And as soon as they had an opportunity, they shot down Roe v. Wade. Here's Mike Lee, who during the State of the Union, when Biden is talking and accuses them of wanting to get rid of Social Security and Medicaid, he laughs and calls him a liar. And here's a clip of him right around the same time saying this.
It will be my objective to phase out Social Security, to pull it up by the roots and get rid of it.
That's the senior senator from one of the most red states in Utah. It's a senior senator.
States. And Ted Cruz's best friend.
That's a Republican telling you on TV during the State of the Union, oh, the outrage. What? We would never cut Social Security. And then when he's there with his donors, by the way, this is a meeting he had with his donors. These are all rich people. And he says he's going to phase that out. And you'll notice they clapped, didn't they? They don't want you to be they don't want you to be taken care of, Deep Throw. They want their pockets to be lined. And they love Mike Lee because they know that they can pay Mike Lee, and Mike Lee will stand up in front of all of us and pretend he's for the working class and pretend that he's here to make the world more free and to get rid of government interference so we can all have more money in our pockets. But the truth is, he's either dumb and doesn't understand that what he advocates for takes money out of most of our pockets, or he's corrupt. At best, he's an idiot. At worst, he's corrupt. And that's your whole party, dude. It's the whole. Look at you. You got you got blue framed glasses.
Shut up!
You got kitty cats. You're in a fucking union. You're a Democrat. Stop pretending.
He's
Stop
a
pretending.
pro-worker, pro-union leftist.
Vote blue.
Yeah.
Stop pretending.
Yeah.
Shut up.
literally.
These are just reading glasses. I got 1 million of them in the house.
You can read. You're a Democrat. The fact that
No.
you can
Yeah,
read means
exactly.
you shouldn't
He
vote
reads.
Republican.
Hey, what we're gonna get? This is cool because I don't have many friends, but you guys are awesome, and I'll talk to you again, you guys. And I'm on the fence now. Okay, you guys?
It's good to have you on the fence. Whispers somewhere is so excited to find out somebody else will be riding that fence with him. That's
Because
great.
I might need disability. I might need disability. And that's what I told the guy that I argue with at work. I says, I'm the one that would want to be a Democrat right now. I want stuff for free because I didn't
It's
do
not
good
for
with it.
free. Hey, you worked your whole life at a
I know.
paper mill. You paid taxes. It's not for free. You're a citizen of the United States of America that has the #1 gross domestic product in the world. It is not free. You deserve to be taken care of.
And look at how
Deep,
fat I am now. I'm 280 pounds. I don't know
deep
what's
throw.
going on.
I don't know if you were here the other day, but Felice said something like Felice explained something in a way I'd never heard it explained, and I can't stop thinking about it. Everybody I've talked to, like in my real life, I've brought this up, but it was something that for some reason never hit home to me. Mothers all across this country, that are stay-at-home moms, right? That never worked. They stay at home, they raise kids. They have no control over what's going to happen in their life, right? Financially. They may have a husband or a wife or some sort of significant other that is the breadwinner, but they stay at home and they raise the kids and they don't get a single dime. And if that person disappears out of their life, whether they die or they just leave, that mother has nothing to show for her sometimes decades of work. And our country does nothing to help that mother other than say, here's a little bit of money and here's some food stamps. See if you can figure out how to make this work while you find a job. And then that mother's required to leave her children and go find a job, which, by the way, she probably doesn't have any qualifications for because she's at home. Our system is set up to completely screw over women, specifically stay-at-home moms. I cannot stop thinking about that. I cannot stop thinking about how we have an economic system where for decades, for centuries, women worked their entire lives, and we never once stopped to say we value that with the same way we value any other job. Like,
It's valued at zero. Women's labor in this country, tireless, countless hours of labor, including ruining our bodies birthing children, is valued at $0. Why is our hours of labor worth nothing in compared to men's? Like that's the real question. The most important job in this country is raising children. It's valued at zero. And
I
yeah.
I saw a stat, and just to give you, just to show you the difference here, that value is valued at zero. If Elon Musk took his money and put it in a CD, which is like anywhere from 1% to 3%, depending on when it is, I don't know what number they were using. If Elon Musk took his money and just put it in a CD, do you know how much he would make a year on interest, Deep Throw?
No, I don't know.
$12 billion dollars.
Really?
We value Elon Musk putting his money in a CD more than we do a mother raising children and not working. And it's not like we value that a little bit more. We value the mother raising children at $0, and we value Elon Musk putting his money in a private institution at $12 billion. We've got a real problem in this country with where we've decided to place value, with what we've decided is most important. And it's pretty clear in this country the thing we've decided is most important is the billionaires. And the Republicans are the ones standing side by side with the billionaires. You think that it's weird that Elon Musk, as he became the world's richest man, suddenly was a conservative? You think Dave Portnoy from Barstool Sports, who was for whatever you want to say about how he treated women, he was a liberal guy until he got rich, and now he's a conservative? How about Joe Rogan? He's an everyman. He gets $100 million. Now he's a conservative?
Yeah.
Why do all these people, when they get money, suddenly they're conservatives? Because they want to keep their money, and they've been told that their money is valuable and that they're super important because they have all this money, so they must be really important people. Meanwhile, all over the country, there's mothers sitting there being valued at $0 and 0 cents. There's teachers making 20, 30, 40 grand a year, not able to pay bills, having to live with roommates. Like, hopefully they make enough that they can rent a private room, but sometimes they have to share a room. Like, the system is fucked, and the Republicans want you to say, like, yeah, the system's fucked, but we're going to keep doing the same thing and it'll get better. And progressives are saying the system is fucked and we need to do something to get the power back to everybody because the power is too consolidated. That's really the dichotomy that you have, Deep Throw, is you can continue to be with the Republicans who do not give a fuck about you, or you can join at least some Democrats, progressive Democrats, and advocate for big changes.
I hear you,
Women
man.
aren't allowed to
You guys
accumulate wealth is the problem. Think about it. Women can never accumulate wealth. They call us the lesser sex. Our labor is valued at zero. How can a mother accumulate wealth? The system is set up so she can't. Women will always have less capital in a capitalistic system, right? That makes us slaves. This is not even my theory. It's Marxist feminism. It's Karl Marx was the original person that identified that women were in slavery, right? As long as we have to produce, let's say, a baby, right? But rip our bodies in half to produce babies. That baby then goes to the man. It takes the man's name, right? We don't even have the same name as that baby. We're producing a surplus that's being taken, and someone else is essentially profiting off it. That's slavery.
Yeah,
Women are slaves.
I believe in the slave thing for every party. So, but anyways, I really appreciate you guys letting me up, and I appreciate all the gifts from your chat, and I'll
Yeah,
come
brother.
on again. You guys got me on the fence,
Good.
so
Good. Come back.
I
It's
love you guys.
uncomfortable there.
Thanks, brother.
All
Love you
right,
too. See
Bye.
ya.
take it easy. Bye bye.
Bye. There we go. Did it? I don't know. Average undergrad, are you opposition? I didn't see any messages from Jen yet. Sorry. Oh
Yeah.
yeah, this. Oh yeah, Jen. Here you go. This or not Jen. This is for you, Felice.
No, it's
This is
not.
this is a treat for you. I promise. Welcome.
Hello.
Hey friends, how's it going?
Good. How are you?
Hello?
Yeah, we
Doing
can hear you.
amazing this fine evening. I'm late to my gym workout, so it kind of sucks, but
Sorry
whatever.
about that, brother. You gotta wake up earlier.
Yeah, that's so true. I just finished school, so I'm like, it's
All
party
right.
time. But anyways, so I think Republicans are bad because of the anti-democracy thing. I definitely disagree with some of what the things you guys were saying. I think Social Security isn't that good. I think it's a terrible system.
Why?
And I don't think unions aren't that good. But now that you ask, we can go over Social Security right now.
Sure.
So Social Security is a pay-as-you-go system. So that means that the money that people retire with, I basically pay for. So it's a transfer program. Now the problem with that is number one, that it's basically the cost is determined by the age distribution. So if we're not having enough babies, if we want the same benefits, we're gonna it's gonna cost more basically. And number two, Social Security replaces savings. Now, replacing savings is actually pretty bad because savings are the funds that go into investment. So it's actually very costly. I would prefer something like Sweden, what they do there, have a fully funded system, maybe have a retirement account, savings accounts like that. But that's just my take on the Social Security thing.
Well, yeah. Look, the reason we had to put the reason we have Social Security is because, uh, unfortunately, we can't just say like everybody's going to save money and everybody is going to be responsible with their money. Especially with in capitalism, we have these ebbs and flows. Like economic disaster can happen at any time. A 401k can be wiped out at any time. And if you happen to be retiring right around the time your 401k gets wiped out, well, you're fucked, right? That's if we had a more stable economic system, I would agree with you, but we don't. It's a very unstable economic system. So Social Security is simply there so that when people don't have to plan, the government's going to take care of that. It's safe money. It increases, and it's a way to make sure that we don't have a big crisis. Imagine if we had like a 10-year financial crisis. What would we do with all the people who lost all their money? Pretend Social Security doesn't exist, and we have a bunch of people who can't work, who have retired, and they can't pay any of their bills because we have a financial disaster. Then what do we do?
Yeah, so first of all, let's say I agree with you that there may be some people that fall off the cracks. We can also have a public and a private pension system. It doesn't necessarily, like what you say, doesn't necessarily necessitate. I don't know if that makes sense. doesn't necessarily necessitate a pay-as-you-go system. We can also have a UBI. I didn't have
Sure.
either the fully funded system. It's just
Sure.
for me that system is too costly for my preference.
Well,
Also,
you could put in laws. Like there's different ways you could do Social Security. It's not like Social Security is the best
Yeah.
way, but Social Security exists. And so like that's the system we have. We can improve it. If we're going to get rid of it, you're talking about probably you'd have to figure out a way to get all the employers to guarantee retirement for people. Those 401ks would have to be transferable. They would have to be protected. We would have to have some sort of, like you said, UBI, a guaranteed piece of income. And we used to. We used to have, like, I think there used to be a guaranteed amount that businesses had to provide for pensions. And we got rid of that, I think, in the 60s. Maybe it was the 70s. I
yeah.
can't remember when it was.
Yeah, I mean, I guess there's a lot of agreement here. So, I mean, I don't necessarily disagree with what you're saying, but also there's going to be a few problems with Social Security as time goes on. We're not just going to have to raise the retirement age as other countries are doing. I believe the Nordic nations have they basically have adjusted for life expectancy. So as life expectancy goes up, your
Yeah, but our
retirement
life,
age.
this is how bad our system is. Our life expectancy is going down, and Republicans are saying we need to raise the age. Like our life expectancy is going in the opposite direction of most of these Nordic
since
countries.
COVID.
And now we're saying let's raise the age.
Sure.
Again, the problem that we have is that Republicans have refused to fund Social Security. They won't do it. They're too afraid to raise taxes on rich people and get them to continue to pay their share. And so now we're at a place where like the trust may run out. And that means unfortunately, that means that people will get a smaller percentage of their Social Security and their Medicare.
No, sure. I think you can lift the cap, but I also think you can.
But
also
Republicans
use this
won't, right?
opportunity- Yeah,
You
yeah,
understand
but
that?
also
Yeah,
think you
okay,
can
cool.
Yeah, I also think you can use this opportunity to maybe reform it in a better way. But I mean, this is my take.
I agree. Look, it's not perfect. It's not a perfect system, but the solution can't be just defund it.
We need people. You're a critical thinker. Like, you're absolutely right. There could be many solutions to this, and it probably is a hybrid one. Like, I like how your brain works. It's too bad the Republicans just have grievances and no solutions.
I mean, it depends, right? Because I mean, a lot of like Republicans don't even talk about policy anymore. They only talk about culture war issues. I think some of like their
Exactly.
economic advisors do talk a lot about this. Like, there's some like ideas from, I guess, Republican advisors, but not Republican politicians.
Yeah, I agree. Like, we shouldn't be deciding if we're Republican or Democrat based on culture wars. Exactly. We need to focus on the broken economic system in this country and how privatized profit is going to the few. Like, those are the issues I would like to discuss. And if we all just focused on who was taking our money, I think a lot of us in this country would be getting along.
I think there's some agreement there, but to be fair, I don't think the economic system is fully broken. Like, obviously, I'm an immigrant. Like, I chose this country, so I kind of like it here. Obviously, I think
Where are
it's
you? Where are you?
suboptimal in some.
Where are you from?
I was born in Peru.
Ooh,
I used to
Lake
live in
Titicaca.
Ecuador.
Oh, so basically neighbors.
I lived in Cuenca in the mountains.
Oh, yes.
It's like a UNESCO World Heritage Site.
I lived in Utah. It's like
Cool story.
it's just like a whole state. The whole state is a cult. It's pretty cool.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I heard. But also, I think in South America, there's like pension systems that are completely terrible. I think Brazil
But
had like, until recently, they had like a retirement age of 55. Like, and that's very problematic because you can't have like 20% of your, population not working, and they have a lot of taxes on the young people.
Well, wait, hold on. I need to say something though. I understand. I lived in South America in many countries. I understand why if you were born there, you came here. Like, my father is indigenous Mexican, so like, I understand life outside of this country. But like, what I want to posit to you is that your life in Peru and in South America, and many of the ways the economies down there are completely decimated, is the fault of American capitalism. You had to suffer. Your country suffers because of tariffs, because of our American corporations wanting to take natural resources in places like South America. Like, we prosper here domestically by other countries suffering
Yeah,
abroad.
so I mean, I don't think that's true. I think free trade will do a lot of good. Like, if we had, I believe it was TPP that Barack Obama wanted to pass. That would have been excellent. I actually don't. I think America does make Latin America better. I think one of the problems that currently is actually Spain.
Are
I
you
think Spain
kidding?
has a lot of.
Are us
I think
unlawfully
Spain.
entering South American countries and doing coups that were sometimes successful or not, allowing American corporations to then enter and disrupt the current economic system
Well, I
completely?
can't
And
speak
if they
for.
say no, then we put tariffs on them and turn off their economies? Like,
Well, I
I
can't
mean,
speak for every country, but in some countries in South America specifically, the Cubans and the Soviets were already interfering. And also before that, the whole system of South America was already unstable because of the Great Depression. After we had the Great Depression, Brazil and Argentina were already had coups.
oh, I understand that there's infighting in South America. I'm not disputing that. I'm saying American intervention there has made everything worse. And there's a responsibility. Like, it's same with the immigration problem. Don't destabilize countries, their economies, and also with coups militarily, and then wonder why people are showing up at the southern border.
I mean, I think immigration is good, but I also don't think it was America that destabilized the whole region. I just think America should have intervened when Cubans and Soviets were already there trying to fund certain candidates and working with the KGB.
Oh yeah, but that's why America was there essentially. Cold War,
Sure.
like.
Yeah, I mean when you look at it's really interesting if you look at any of the countries in South America. Every time there's some sort of economic unrest, give yourself an hour, do a little bit of research, and you'll find out that we played a part in that, like a big part in it. And generally speaking, like a vindictive part, like what happened in Venezuela. Like we didn't like the leader, so we're just like we're not buying your oil, and there's 50% of their revenue gone for the whole country. I think it's like 90 something percent of their revenue comes from oil. We buy close to 50% of that, and we're like we're not buying your oil anymore. Goodbye Venezuela.
Well, to be fair, for me personally, I would prefer America to fight against dictatorships. Obviously, there's a lot of contradiction going on because we do fund, let's say, Saudi Arabia and other countries. But
Yeah, and
personally,
one
for
of
me,
the
obviously,
and one of
because
the
of
two
my
candidates is running on, one of the two candidates in America is running on like, hey, I'm going to be a dictator.
yeah, obviously Trump is bad. I prefer Biden
Yeah,
over him.
America loves dictators. It's just as long as the dictator does what we tell them to do. We love democracy as long as democracy gives us the outcomes that we want. But we have no problem stepping into democratic countries if we don't like the outcomes of how they voted. We could give a flying fuck. We'll step in and we'll do that.
Okay, that seems fair.
Yeah, it's fair that I said that. I assume you don't mean fair that we do that. I'm guessing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, but yeah, I do think the Castro regime and the Maduro regime are pretty awful. Obviously, I would prefer them to not prop them up, to not assist them. But I mean, I guess it's geopolitics. Like sometimes you kind of need their oil or whatever.
Corruption, yeah. So whatever the economic system, political ideology going on, there's corruption, sure. You're naming two not great leaders, absolutely.
Yeah.
It's a lot of agreement, guys. This is a
Yeah.
lot. This is a lot of agreement. Yeah, that I mean, I thought you were ANCAP. You don't sound very ANCAP. I was told you
No,
were
I'm not
ANCAP.
ANCAP. I'm not
Okay.
ANCAP at all.
Okay.
I'm basically center right. I mean, if that's what you want to call it. But I mean, I love Mitt Romney. I love my cinema. I love my
Oh
Hillary.
my God. You guys
Yeah.
both love Mitt Romney.
Isn't Mitt the greatest?
Yeah.
Isn't
Oh
he the
my
best?
God.
I think he's the one who came up with the child tax credit, which I think is responsible
Yeah.
for cutting
Oh.
child poverty in half.
Oh, talk to me. Talk to me more about Mitt Romney.
Oh my God.
Mitt Romney's he actually supports a carbon tax, which is super good.
Oh,
Oh, yeah.
and he's so handsome for 80. Look how
Yeah,
handsome
for
he is
real.
at 80 years old. Still has all his hair, perfectly turning
Yeah.
salt and pepper. Oh, yeah.
It's a Mormon
now you're
life.
speaking my. That's right. That's right. It's a clean life. That's a clean life. All right, brother. Anything else you want to talk about?
I mean, I think probably there's a lot of disagreement here with this topic. I think unions are a little bit overrated. Like a lot of people say, oh, you have to unionize, you always have to unionize, but there's a union premium, certainly, but there's not always going to be a union premium in every workplace. So I think that's kind of overrated. And also unions could also fight against market power, but they also could go like way against that and then actually, let's say, decrease scaling and all those stuff. So I think there's a lot of nuance to the union
Yeah.
conversation.
I think though that the reason the reason it's worked in the past, and the reason we have unions that exist in this economic structure is because the unions act as a check, and the free market will also act as a check against the unions, right? So, but the problem is it seems that politicians once they get involved, they demand that we overcorrect everything, right? So if the unions start having a little bit too much power, and they're dampening economic growth, we might say like, hey, all right, unions, you need to pull back a little bit. But instead, it'll be somebody like, we have to get rid of unions altogether. And that's really what happened in America is people felt unions had too much power. So instead of just trying to balance it out, we tried to strip them to the point now where I think, Felice, you said 6% of workers.
Yeah, 6% of the privatized workforce is unionized currently in America. And the unions didn't have too much power. I mean, it's always been such a small percentage of the country. It's just capitalists who donate to the Republican Party don't even want people to get the idea that they can organize. And that's what my issue is. Sure, there could be unions that are corrupt, that are bad, absolutely there could be outliers. I think by and large, like you're saying, unions are to protect the worker. And in free market capitalism, the issue is we have to have as many protections as possible. That's why there has to be regulations. That's why there should be union, because there's no democracy in the workplace. We are allegedly a democratic country, but where we spend most of our time in the workplace, there's absolutely no democracy. There's dictators, there's the few that make the decisions. If you get out of line too many times, you lose your livelihood, your ability to even get medical care in this country. Like they have all the power. So I mean, for me, like obviously I would like to see the union size or percentage of the workforce represented by a union absolutely grow. But I think it also just comes down to us passing more progressive policies and working, like Richard Wolff says, the Marxist economist at the University of Massachusetts, Amherst, like he says, like the most important thing is democratizing the workplace. And that's what we need to focus on, that on a micro level, less about like, obviously capitalism should be regulated, and like the Scandinavian countries you mentioned, like Sweden, they regulate capitalism heavily, and that's a good thing. But the latest critique of socialism and that type of Scandinavian socialism is that it wasn't micro enough. We're still in the workplace with no democracy.
Yeah, so I mean, I definitely disagree with worker democracy. But before that, I just want to mention that the union rate decreasing, it has been like a worldwide trend. Like even in like Sweden, Denmark, and all those stuff, like they went from like 80% to like 60% in like 10 years or 20 years. Some people say it has to do with globalization. It's like there's like economic concept called like the demand elasticity for labor has been more elastic. So there's because of competition around the world. So I think that's just naturally bound to happen in a globalized system, which is not necessarily bad. I mean, I don't think union is
it is necessarily bad, though. It has been necessarily bad because during that time, as we've gotten rid of unions and as we've opened it up, given the business owner more leeway on what they can and can't do, we've seen the consolidation of wealth into like fewer and fewer people. The rich have gotten richer. The wealth has consolidated into less and less pockets. Like it is like you're correctly identifying that unions are dropping and are becoming less and less popular, but that's not because it's correct. It's because of the messaging. It's not helping. I mean, it's not making people in this world. It's not creating more equitable jobs. It's not creating more equitable circumstances. It's not creating countries where the wealth is distributed equally or equitably. It's creating a place where when you get rid of the unions, you suddenly can consolidate all this wealth. And for these people that are accumulating wealth, they're looking for non-union places to invest so they can consolidate that wealth. And once they own it, they're going to drop worker pay. They're going to pay the least amount they possibly can for wages. They're going to pay the least amount they possibly can when it comes to benefits. And then they're going to consolidate as much of that wealth as they can. So you're correctly identifying a trend, but if you're looking at that trend saying it's less popular, but you're not looking at the trend of, but people like wealth inequality is growing, then I think you're missing the entire picture. You're just seeing a small part of it.
Yeah, so I don't think wealth inequality is also bad in itself. I mean, it depends what it's endogenous to. In a capitalist system, if you get rich by increasing the capital structure, increasing capital per worker, and making the labor force more productive, I think that's well. Like I wouldn't try to make policy to like decrease like wealth inequality by itself. Like maybe you can decrease wealth inequality by abolishing Social Security since it is
Well,
replacing savings
explain
after
it.
all.
You said it's not a bad thing. Can you explain how a CEO pay being 300 times the amount of the average worker is a good thing?
Well,
Like, how,
in America, I mean, that's only indigenous to America, right? Denmark, my country doesn't have this because we don't have the biggest companies in the world. It
Well,
depends what it's
Denmark,
indigenous
but
to
you're
after all.
talking, yeah, of course, that's like a utopia though. Like if I could move to any country and become a citizen, it would literally be Denmark. So
Yeah.
yeah, right. Denmark has a great system, but like wealth inequality, like what he's talking about. I was looking up the other day, the CEO of General Motors makes 366 times the amount of the average worker.
Yeah, so I mean,
Like this wealth inequality,
I also wouldn't like to
like
focus on like
12% of the
average
country's in
wages.
poverty.
I think total labor compensation is a better argument because like sometimes in a recession, like average wages go up because a lot of like the less unproductive workers get unemployed. So I wouldn't really focus on average wages.
sorry, but even if you're talking about what would that change it by? Like if you're
Yeah,
talking
it
about
doesn't
the
matter.
like the total amount, what would it be? 350 times more? Like
I
you're
mean,
talking
so it
about it. You're
depends.
talking. Yeah, you're
I'm talking
talking
about the
very
average
small
wage
numbers.
at General Motors. Yeah, the average
Yeah.
employee,
So
like
are you
employee
saying
wage.
you're saying that you want to include like their benefits as well, and not just their wages, right? Average
I mean,
undergrad.
sure. I just don't like comparing the
That's fair. Yeah.
CEO pay to the average worker. I just don't think that's I don't think that makes good for like
But
trying to
no,
find
we
policy.
absolutely should. Hold on. No,
Yeah, because they're
1
both
hour
getting
of
that
labor, one
benefit.
unit of labor is valued at 1 unit of labor. Time is a finite resource. Like, yes, there can be more specified types of labor that are valued more in a free market, but never at 366 times. If we can only we're humans with finite amount of energy and finite amount of time. We can like if people are working 60 hours, it needs to be valued somewhere around equally. There's no way that people should be able to amass the type of wealth that they're amassing that now we're classified by Harvard as an oligarchy.
Yeah, but productivity levels are different, right? Like a doctor is not going to get to the same wage as like a grocery store
Which
worker.
I factored in. I said there's types of specified labor that are valued more in the free market. Like I understand that, but at the end of the day, like yeah, I do believe that 1 unit of labor is 1 unit of labor. Like I to say a doctor does work that no one else can do, which yes, they went to school, they incurred cost with that should be considered. But no, I believe that if people in society are being productive, I'm not going to say a plumber's labor is worth less than an IT guy. A
Yeah,
unit of
so I
labor
mean,
is a unit of labor.
I don't disagree that we should pay at the maximum amount possible and all that stuff. I just disagree with like certain like policy prescriptions, like because I could there could be some cost to this. Obviously, shareholders do not want to pay CEO like as much as possible. They're also and sometimes non-founded CEOs could be considered an employee as well.
So what would you advocate for then to fix the issues that we have? If we're talking about the actual issues that we have, we're talking about a majority of Americans now can't afford like a bill that surprises them, like a $400 or $500 bill that surprises them. They can't afford that. Healthcare costs, housing costs are skyrocketing. What would be if the policy prescriptions are not to pull that money down from the wealthy and make it more equitable? What is the policy prescription?
Well, I think the main thing that I care about is absolute levels of poverty. I don't care about relative poverty, which is an inequality measurement. As you mentioned, you talked about, let's say, healthcare.
Could you explain why you only care about absolute poverty?
I think absolute, like how much you're basically your standard of living. I care about absolute standards of living.
Okay.
Shouldn't go below a certain level. Do you believe that?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, because like
But do
Denmark,
you
I
think
mean,
we
they have
should
a social safety net. Well, it's a welfare state.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
should we have a baseline, or should we continue how we are in America where there really is no like baseline?
Love. I mean, I think there's a lot of baseline. Like, obviously, we can do more, but I don't think it's like there's nothing. But like, yeah, there's obviously we can do stuff like UBI and all that stuff. Also, if how much you care about future generations, you probably want
Universal
less
health
welfare.
care? Are you on board with
Yeah,
that?
I
Okay.
think even Milton Friedman agreed with universal catastrophic healthcare, which
Milton
is basically like
Friedman,
a
huh?
yeah, he agreed with universal catastrophic healthcare, which is basically like in case of like an emergency, you get like
Yeah,
that covered.
it's just like what when people realize that we need universal health care, but they don't want to admit that like their capitalist dreams are not perfect. They just go, "Oh, yeah, get catastrophic." That's that.
Yeah.
It's basically the concession that capitalists need to make in order for them to not appear heartless. But it's still pretty fucking heartless. Like, you'll be taken care of if you're going to die. But now you've got to figure out if you're going to die first. Because if you do go to the hospital and you're not indeed going to die, then you're just fucked because it didn't cover it. Instead, you just
And
went to the
studies show
hospital.
that preventative healthcare is cheaper in the first place. If you wait till there's a catastrophe, it's actually more expensive, which
Yeah,
is
I imagine.
But I totally agree. That's just the capitalist way of being like, it's the basic thought of, okay, you love capitalism, you love free market capitalism, you need a labor force. Why wouldn't you keep them healthy? Isn't that the thing that's fueling your machine, your capitalist dreams? Why not keep them healthy?
Yeah, so I think it's a case by case basis. Depends if there's a market failure or not. I think healthcare has a market failure. There's some other stuff that there's problems in, but I don't think has a market failure, so I wouldn't prescribe a government solution to it. It really just depends.
The other question I want to ask, and I've tried to figure out a way to ask this question well, and I don't know if I have it, but if you and 1,000 people uh, moved to an island and you're like, this is your country now, do you really think you would put in you would put capitalism as your economic driver there, or like your economic system there?
An island.
Yeah, you're on an island. There's
Making a community.
There's 1,000 of you. There's going to be all sorts of jobs that you all need to do. There's no infrastructure. You're gonna have to build out the infrastructure as the island grows, and you have children. You're gonna need teachers. You're probably gonna need police. You're gonna need some sort of form of government. If you saw that, you're like, here's the island, and then you saw a picture from 1,000 years later, and you saw that out of those 1,000 people, it had grown to 10,000 people, but like 4 people owned 90% of the wealth. Would you say that was a success or a failure?
I mean, depends on the absolute standards of living, right?
Okay, yeah. So you have a bunch of people who can't afford medical care. You have people who every year die because they don't have medical care.
Yeah, so I mean, now it
Would you
depends on
say
the
would you say that was a
counterfactual.
win?
I mean, if you're talking about this country, I think this country is a win.
And by the way, the 4 people with all the wealth on this island, they're not doing anything anymore. They're just hanging out, and
They're living off everyone else's labor.
yeah, they're collecting all their profits off of the labor of everybody else on the island. Everybody on the island is working hard, and you have these 4 people who, because they understood capitalism and because they made business decisions, now they own 90% of the wealth, and they're not working anymore. And then they're going to have children, and their children will never have to work either, because there's a system put in place where their children will inherit all of that money. Well, we can't take that money back from them because they earned it. So now their kids will forever be in charge as well. That's how close we are in this country to having like generational oligarchies. When you have
Yeah, so
when you have this amount of wealth consolidated into this few of people, we're talking about generational oligarchies. It's not Elon dies and we get that wealth back and we start over and we're like, let's not make that mistake again. No, it goes to all of his numbered children, however the fuck he's naming them, numbers and letters. Like that's what we're headed towards now. We're headed towards, and that's why I put it simply, like an island. Nobody would look at that island and say that's a success. They would say, oh, you guys have an oligarchy now. Or if it gets down to one person, you have an autocracy now. That's the problem. That's the problem with like this unchecked capitalism that has no safety net, that doesn't protect the workers. Is that at the end of it, you just have a couple people with all the money making all the decisions and having all the power.
yeah, so I mean, number one, I don't think everything is a result of labor. I think a production function has also capital, and I think it's good that there's certain people investing in capital. Why
Yeah,
I
but
don't
only in
mind is,
capitalism. But only in capitalism,
I
right?
mean, we still have to invest in
Like
capital either
why?
way
Yeah, why is capital important?
because it makes our labor more productive.
So let me ask a better question. Why is private capital important?
Because it makes our labor more productive.
Now, if that was public capital, like if we all invested together in projects and so for example, the oil companies, let's just say that we owned the oil, but we were going to allow these private companies to drill and sell oil, and then they had to share the profits with all of us because it's ours. Why would that
Yeah,
not be a better option than private capital?
because
Why
then
not
people
why
wouldn't
not
invest in
public
capital.
capital? What's that?
People wouldn't invest in capital.
No, we would as a country.
Yeah.
It would be government funded.
Okay, so you're talking about central planning?
Yes.
Okay, so I don't think central planning works well. I
Why?
believe that the price system is actually a very good method to basically allocate resources, not just the end result, not just the output, but the resources themselves. I believe this is a term called the economic.
Well, hold on though. Central planning has worked all over this country.
I mean, I thought
Our
we were talking
roads are
about.
centrally planned. Our infrastructure is centrally planned. These all could have been private capital investments. They all could have been, but they weren't. You know why? Because there was no giant return on building a fucking freeway.
Yeah, so
Capital is only allotted, like the most capital is and now we're in a situation where capital is being allotted to places that do not matter. It's literally to like run pump and dump schemes with tech companies so they can operate at a loss, raise the price of their stock price until they go public, so a bunch of people can get a payday. And then when shit hits the fan and things tighten up, they just lay off 30-40% of their workers, and so they can keep their stock price high. Private capital incentivizes really, really bad behavior. But the good things in this country, the central planning things, the things that we've used public capital for, those work.
Okay, so I think that's a pretty weird way to put it. Obviously, you're just not in favor of us investing in infrastructure. You're for way more than that, right? Because I would agree with just infrastructure. Where you're talking about central planning and publicly owning the means of production, I would give you, hey, the Soviet Union tried that and it didn't work. Like, it just depends what you're advocating for. But if you're just
I'm not advocating
about infrastructure, then I would agree.
Yeah, I'm not advocating for eliminating private capital altogether. At least not now. But what I'm saying is that like we have a system that incentivizes private capital to go to places that only benefit a few people. Our system needs to be set up in a way that benefits the American people, right? All of us. But it doesn't. Capitalism, and especially now unchecked crony capitalism, it actually does the opposite. It helps a very few people and it hurts millions of people.
Yeah, so
And that's what I was talking about Russia, average. What I was talking about Russia, like that's what I was saying is like socialism didn't go far enough. Like that is my critique of socialist program, like seizing the means of production. There still was no democracy essentially in the workplace. Like there were still the few who were in charge of the many. So my question to you then would be, okay, so think about like a workplace where right now there's like a CEO and a few people who have all the power. Why can't those people just not be there? The workers know how to do their jobs. They know how to run the workplace. Like what is the purpose of the capitalist if not to just collect the surplus and sell it at market and live off
Yeah,
it?
so I don't think there should be workplace democracy because workers don't internalize the cost of capital. So it's not like I'm not saying laborers don't know anything. I think their incentives are quite differently in line. Laborers aren't incentivized to basically scale up production. They're incentivized to basically just increase their wages, which could be at the detriment of the
No,
scale.
that's the system now. You're saying workers wouldn't be incentivized to work? In what way? If there was a democratic system in which everyone, like, we're rotating essentially saying making decisions, or it's a democratic vote, but mainly people, we're profit sharing. It's a co-op. Why, in what way? I argue that people are much more incentivized to work when they are sharing in the profits.
Yeah, so I didn't say work, I say scaling. So in Yugoslavia, they tried a co-op model, but obviously what the problem that they had was they just wouldn't scale because laborers that they had a democratic vote on the company, they wouldn't hire people. Because when you want to hire someone, like in a capitalist system, you will hire a laborer if there's just $1 to make a profit. But in a co-op system like they had in
There
Yugoslavia,
are
you wouldn't
co-ops,
hire them.
successful co-ops that have scaled though. There's one in Spain that I was listening to a case study about actually, but I can't speak on it specifically. I could send you that link like later, but
Yeah,
there
I think
there
you're
are
referring to
successful
Madrigon.
co-ops that have scaled.
Yeah, so you're referring to Madrigon. Number one, I
Yeah, oh
wouldn't say
yes, I
like
am.
I
Yes.
wouldn't refer to just one co-op working as let's just change the whole system. I think that's hard extrapolation. But I think like 30% of their workforce
I
is
said
just,
there
I
are
think,
successful co-ops that have scaled. I didn't
yeah, so I
say
wouldn't, yeah.
I
But
said
I
I
think
had
30%,
recently heard a case study of one.
yeah, I think 30% of their workforce is like not even like basically owns, they're not part of the co-op. They're basically like employees, I want to say, what's it called? Like how contracting workers, they basically do that kind of thing, which makes them easier to scale, I guess. So, I
You're
mean, it
saying
goes
they
without
hire out
saying.
contractors?
Yeah, they basically out of contractors, so they basically aren't part of the co-op. But I mean, that's 30% of your workforce technically. That's what I heard. I was from the debate from Destiny and
Well, but
Richard Wolff.
that's not really. But the thing is, that's not really 30% of your workforce, right? Your workforce that running a co-op doesn't mean you can't hire a third party. It doesn't. Like it doesn't mean that you have to do all the work yourself. But when we look at all these instances, like you look at Russia, for example, Russia tried this, but the problem that Russia had is that they basically took these segments of their country and segments of their economy as they made every business, the government owned half of it, but the people inside of the business were also able to sell their shares, and there was an oversight by an oligarch. And once it was exposed that these Russian businesses were undervalued by Bill Browder, these oligarchs went in and they started buying up the public shares as well. And if people didn't want to sell their public shares, they just got rid of them. That was the problem. That's what happened in Russia. Russia was working until the oligarchs started taking and hoarding all of the wealth. Now in Russia, you can't own your own home. You really have no savings. Like, you just work for your entire life, unless you're an oligarch, in which case you and your family are set for generations. And that's exactly where we're headed. Like, just because they called that communism or socialism and we call ours capitalism doesn't mean the outcome isn't exactly the fucking same. You have people, and one of the stories we were going to cover today, Democrats have put out legislation trying to block corporations from not only purchasing new houses, but being forced to sell private homes, because this is where we're headed. We're at a place now in this country where the people with all the money can afford to buy up everything, and people want to sell when they're in their 50s and their 60s, or you have a business and you don't want to compete with them anymore, so you'll take a buyout. And while all these people take buyouts and they think that they're helping themselves in the short term, a few people are accumulating all of the wealth. We are so much closer to Russia than people want to imagine. And the only reason that Republicans haven't figured this out is because it's hardwired in their brain to think that the word socialism is bad. And they're not recognizing that it's the same thing is happening here that happened in Russia. And we're saying that was socialism, but this is capitalism. Well, the outcome's the same. So I don't know what to say there. Like, instead of worried about socialism versus capitalism, maybe we talk about what works. Maybe we just talk about protections for people.
I mean, yes, like, I mean, I kind of agree with a lot of what you said. I think obviously the Russia and the United States are completely different. I think it was Paul Krugman that said, obviously when you have an economy, you can not just measure in GDP, you can also measure it in a production function, labor, capital, and total factor per activity. I believe I remember reading this. Obviously, I don't have the source right now, so if you don't believe me, that's fine. But it was like they did not have total factor productivity growth, and no matter when they started, and at the end, they didn't have total factor productivity. And productivity is kind of very important because it determines your long-run growth rate. So from that standpoint, they were always going to collapse.
I get that.
Unlike us, which we do have productivity growth.
Yeah, I get that stat. I don't think that that's the cause. That's not more sensible than saying, like, oh, wait, what happened in Russia? Oh, there's different policies. There's different ways we can measure the economy, or you can just look at what really happened. Like, 12 people own all the wealth. That's what happened. And you have all these economists like going out of their way to just not say that, but that's the truth. Like, 12 people own all the wealth in Russia. And the reason they were able to do so is because nobody checked them. No, there were no protections put in place so that they could accumulate that wealth. There should be a limit to how much wealth you can accumulate. And if you don't ever put a limit on that, then the people that want to accumulate wealth will find a way. And the more wealth they accumulate, the more they're going to be able to accumulate, because now they have influence. And now they have influence over the government. And now they have influence over the regulations. That's the real problem.
Yeah, so I mean, I think we can agree to disagree, but also agree that I think you might put a lot of, let's say, weight on wealth distribution, while I don't. Like, obviously, I think they're completely different.
Well,
they might have the same
could you
wealth
explain
distribution.
could you explain then, like, how that's not accurately describing the problems with Russia, that 12 people hold all the wealth?
Yeah, so I think it's completely different. Like, if one country gives you the highest disposable income on earth and then the other one just collapses, I think those two are completely different.
What do you mean collapses? You're saying Russia collapsed?
Yeah, okay, so the Soviet Union collapsed, and now Russia's doing.
I'm talking about Russia, now.
Yeah. So I think
but Russia didn't collapse.
I mean, okay, but
it's not collapsed.
You get what I'm saying? I think it depends on what it's endogenous to.
Honest to God, I don't get what you're saying. You're talking about remove the labels. You're talking about Russia doing well until all the wealth was accumulated between like 12 people. And now you have Russian people starving. You have Russian people who have to work their entire life. There is no retirement. Why do they have to work all their life and not have retirement? Because all of that money is funneled to the top. And the people that have all the money and all the wealth, they need these people to work their entire life. That's what they need for their money to keep coming in. They're not going to give benefits. They're not going to say like go ahead and retire early. The truth of the matter is, like, we should be able to retire at 50 or 55 in this country. We have the wealth to do it. We've been tricked into believing that, like, oh no, you have to work your entire fucking life. Meanwhile, all these people who just accumulate wealth, they're not doing anything. They've retired years ago and they're making far more money than we are. It's not a good system.
I mean, it depends on the cost, right? Like, obviously in Brazil, there's young people moving here because they do not want to pay for that. Obviously, they could basically live a good life, but basically modern day standards. But they want more. They want to have higher standards of living than what they possibly can. So maybe maybe we can resolve that through democratic means, right? Maybe you have a certain preference and I have another certain preference.
No, I'm just saying cap it. That's all I'm saying. Look, most people in this country will never be millionaires. That's beyond most people's wildest imagination.
Yeah, I agree.
And yeah, so then why do we need somebody that has $460 billion?
No, so I mean, it depends what it's endogenous to. Again, right? I think getting money from
it doesn't. No. Let's make it as simple as possible.
I think you're making it too simple.
No, I'm not. Why would you design a system that allows one person to accumulate that much of a percentage of the wealth? Why would you design a system that way?
Yeah, to increase capital investment and make labor more effective.
And who benefits from that capital investment the most?
All of us?
No, who benefits the most?
Okay. Oh, so it's a heterogeneous thing, right? Like they benefit more, so I mean we should change the system.
Yeah, if 20 people are getting the majority of the benefits, it's a bad system. There's 350 million people in this country.
I mean, it depends on the counterfactual, right? Like if poor people aren't better off in any other system, then I guess
I don't think it does. It still is a huge imbalance. No. It's still a flawed system. You can say, we can talk all day long about how the poor people in America are better off than the poor people in other countries. Yeah. But at the end of the day, it still shows that it's a flawed system that allows one person to accumulate that much wealth. I'm not saying that like this that it's not that we're not better off, that our poor people are not better off than maybe in another country. I'm just saying, by design, if you look at our system and how it operates, it's a very flawed design. It's not equitable. If you are born with money, you have a leg up on everybody. If your parents made money, you have a leg up on everybody. And in some cases, I have a friend who will never work in his entire life. Never.
Yeah, so I think we agree on the issues. I just don't think those issues give you a counterfactual about the capitalist treatment. So that's why I can't be moved from my position. I think capital investment is great, and that's why we have the highest living standards on earth.
Well, yeah, I guess, but that's the problem. Like your line of deciding like whether or not to be moved for your position, like you don't really care about equality, you don't care about equity, you don't care about a flawed system. You can still have capitalism, and you can just have it be heavily regulated. You can put a cap on income, you can raise taxes, you can expand the social safety nets. You can still operate under a capitalist system and have it operate in a much more fair way. That's what I'm advocating for.
Yeah, and then
I'm under no illusions that the United States is going to suddenly elect AOC and we're going to be a socialist country. But what I am advocating for is that people wake the fuck up and say, like, this system sucks. This system doesn't work. There are hundreds of thousands of people literally living in the streets in the world's most profitable and prosperous country, and yet we still think it's really, really important that these billionaires get some more tax breaks.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know why you would cap income. I think labor supply curves slope upward. So I think I want rich people to work, and I want rich people to invest. I think the Laffer curve is real, even though Republicans are over-exaggerating. I do think it's real, so I think 100% tax rate is going to have some consequences. Obviously, you can get more revenue if you have, like, let's say, an 80% tax and then 100% tax.
Yeah, but what if... Wait, but hold on. The Laffer curve is exactly what you said. It's over-exaggerated and it's flawed. But I'm not saying that you say, like, you can't make 20 million. I'm saying... make the tax rate 90% on that 20 million. And if you want to add incentives in order to pay people more money that work for you to cut down on those taxes, fine. But you don't get tax breaks unless you're paying other people more money.
Yeah, actually, 100% agree with that. But I also have to say, hey, you kind of did say cap income, cap wealth. So that's why I got
Yeah,
that
yeah.
100%
I
tax rate
wanted to
from.
clarify that. I meant, yeah,
Yes.
I meant like cap, like essentially it would cap it. Like if you had 90%
Yeah.
over 20 million, you wouldn't have Elon Musk.
Right. So, you said something important. And I was going to reply to it. Oh, yeah, yeah. So I do think tax bases do matter. I think you kind of implied this point. Yeah. So obviously, do think what Jeff Bezos consumes should be taxed higher than what Jeff Bezos invests in, right? Like if he's investing capital in his company, if he's making his workers more productive, that money, that dollar should be taxed less marginally than the money he consumes.
Sure. Yeah, I'm fine with that.
Yeah,
If that's going directly
absolutely.
into, yeah, agreed.
Yeah,
I
I
I
think it
would
was Bill
I
Gates that said,
I
"You
wouldn't
should
give a
tax me on my
shit.
consumption, not my investment."
Like if businesses paid $0 in income tax, I wouldn't care as long as that meant everybody in their business was making substantially more money. Will collect the taxes on the income tax, like the
Yeah,
personal income tax. But the problem we basically told these companies before they ever got to a point where they were doing the right thing. We're like, we're going to pretend that you do the right thing and we're going to cut your business taxes. That should have happened after they have proven that they're going to pay people more. And we say, okay, now that you're paying people more, we're going to lower your taxes on your business, and that in turn is going to go more into the pockets of your workers. We'll collect on the income tax.
yeah. So I mean, maybe there's a lot of like agreement here. I also think the corporate tax system is kind of bad. Like it's just designed for capital flight. I don't think corporations should be taxed on their income. I think they should be taxed on like what they generate, on the profits they generate on this country, right? Because if you're taxing them on the profits they generate from Ireland, they're obviously going to move to another country.
No, they're not. This is a that we're America. I don't what country that operates in America could move to a different country and operate in the same way.
And I think Apple moved its headquarters to Ireland because they had a different incorporation tax. Yeah, there's news and
The-
stories about it. There's actually
yeah,
arguments
they'll
about
move.
Ireland having too much low corporate
That's not
tax
the
rates. So
biz. They
yeah,
didn't move
I
the.
think
They didn't move the
capital flight
biz.
does
They didn't move
happen.
the. They didn't move the business to Ireland.
I
They're
think they
still
moved the
taxed the same
headquarters
way.
to avoid tax. That's what they did.
Well, sure,
Obviously, you still
that
have upper
happens, but
costs here.
I'm talking about moving the business, not parts of your operation.
Okay.
Yeah, that's all I was saying. I agree that people do that, but also we should close that loophole down. Like, don't let them do that. If you're making money
Yeah.
in America, I don't care where your headquarters are. You're
Yeah.
taxed at American rates.
No, but it depends like what tax basis we should tax for, let's say, efficiency purposes.
Yeah. Either way, our system doesn't work right now. Our system clearly isn't working. There's not nearly enough regulation. There's not nearly enough protection for everybody else. All the protections just go to the wealthy. That's
Yes,
mostly what I'm getting at.
and no, regulation can be good. It can be bad. There's some zoning laws that are definitely bad that restrict building, good housing, destroys density, and obviously makes our housing costs higher. So I mean, it just depends on the regulation. And don't
Look,
get
look,
me
my
started
dad.
on
Listen,
minimum
my
parking
dad was
requirements.
listen. My dad was a contractor, and I worked with him. Like, you need regulations. Little tip about contractors.
Absolutely.
They want to cut corners. The whole reason that they're heavily regulated is because they consistently cut corners. I just watched a news story last night from here in Arizona. We have a builder called Blandford, and they got in trouble for the way that they were building their homes, and they basically had paid off all the people that were inspecting the homes, and now these private inspectors are going in and showing the shoddy work. But they
Yeah.
basically wanted to cut corners, make a little more money, and so they paid off all the people that were inspecting the homes. I would probably disagree on construction. Like, we need heavy regulation on construction.
No, but it depends on the regulation. That's what I'm saying. And I'm not saying we should increase or decrease based on industry levels. I'm just saying zoning laws like force you to not have density, so they increase housing prices. Parking requirements make you use land inefficiently. They create basically abandoned parking lots and makes the government non-neutral between public transportation and, let's say, car culture in this
Cool.
country.
So before we get to those regulations, before we address those regulations, let's first address that. Let's first not allow corporations to buy houses. Let's first address like bigger issues, and then we can get down into that minutia. But like, we're at a place right now where these giant corporations are trying to buy all our houses so that they can commodify the roofs over our heads, so that for the entirety of our life we will have to pay them. No more paying off your mortgage and living. You know, a lot of people, they pay off their mortgage, and that's their freedom. That's their retirement. They have that extra little bit of money that they were paying towards their mortgage to go play with now. But these big
Yeah.
corporations now want to buy that up so that for the entirety of our lives we're paying rent.
Yeah, so I don't think we should necessarily restrict corporations buying housing. I think there was a study, but the methodology was a methodology I did not like. So obviously, if you don't want to believe it, that's fine. But I think they studied the Netherlands restrictions over there, and what they found was it did increase first-time home buying, but it was at the cost of higher rent prices because corporations are compared to first-time home buyers do rent out more higher proportionately to those first-time home buyers. Yeah,
Yeah,
but as I said, I don't like the
really know that.
methodology. So I mean,
Felice is checked out. Felice, what do you got?
yeah.
No, I'm not. I'm
Also
not
have
checked
to
out.
go
I'm
now.
listening to what you're saying. It's just that study. You'd have to look at it. Like I don't know how I feel about that and if it scales.
I'm gonna have to go. I'm gonna have to work
All right,
out
brother.
these
Enjoy the gym.
neoliberal muscles. So I'll see you guys later.
All right, see ya.
Have a great day. Nice to meet you.
Thank you. You too. Have a good one.
All right, Jen. If you want to bring up next, I don't know who you had in mind. That was you like that?
No, I did. I was like,
you
I'm
get
not
some
checked
marks.
out. I very much. I was actually. I was thinking. Like sometimes when I think, I just look like that. But yeah, I like when people make me think. But capitalism has to be regulated. Come on. Like we have seen. It's been proven. We can't count on people do the right thing. But I mean. And when Trump's talking about deregulation, he's not talking about the parking lot. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Encouraging people to use mass transit by eliminating parking. I agree with that, but that's not the regulation. You know what I mean? That's
a
not
good
what
point.
he's talking about.
He's not talking. Yeah, he's not talking about deregulating house builders. He's talking about finance people for the most part and tech companies. Yeah, it's just people
In
from the
child
government.
labor.
Yeah, when he says deregulation, what he's talking about is like we have to remove the government's ability to tax rich people. And that's what we need to get rid of. That's the red tape that's the problem.
The regulations is in the rule of law. He's
Yeah, like
tired of these regulations.
one of the ones he wants to get rid of is you have to pay taxes. That's the regulation he hates the most. He'd just like to, if you're a billionaire, no more taxes. I think that would be his favorite one. I see
All regulations.
Aram Raj, Reggie, and obviously Deep Throw. Aram Raj and Reggie, are either you guys opposition? Eat the rich. I'm not eating the rich. Look at Elon. He's got it. I bet he'd probably taste terrible. I bet Elon, like, what do you think Elon's diet is like? If you had to guess, what do you think he eats?
I think he goes through different like fads, you know what I mean, depending on whatever he feels like whatever is hip.
He's a fad diet guy. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Reggie, what's up?
How's it going, y'all?
Good. How are you?
Doing good. Republicans don't hate freedom. We love it.
Okay. I used to put on here Republicans hate freedom, but they just don't know it, and I probably should have put that on here. That's really more my contention, is that I believe you when you say you love freedom. What I don't believe is that you understand that the Republican Party and the people that you vote for are very anti-freedom, and most of what they are proposing is very anti-freedom.
Name one.
Okay. We could talk specifically. We could talk about how Donald Trump wants to be able to dictate what social media companies post. He wants to be able to shut down news organizations. Those would both be anti-First Amendment.
When did he say that?
So that's in Project 2025. It's also on his website, donaldjtrump.com/agenda47.
Does he specifically say?
You don't even have to read. It's in videos.
Yeah, he didn't write it. He just speaks about it.
Oh, so you're saying I can't read? Is that what you're saying?
No,
No,
I'm saying if
You're saying
if
because
you
I'm a
wanna
black
listen-
man, I don't know how to read.
Reggie.
That's what she's saying. That's the only reason she brought that up.
No, she's saying it's easier to digest, dude.
She's saying because I'm a black man, I can't read. She's saying I'm illiterate.
All right, calm down, Lombardi.
No,
Lombardi.
I'm absolutely not.
Are you Lombardi?
I don't know who that is.
Oh, no, not this shit again. All right. Anyways, they're on videos. I
Is
think
it
she was
like
talking
wait?
to...
Who is that? I don't understand like who that is. Or
Did somebody remove? Did he get removed? I don't know.
I didn't. I didn't do it.
What is
But
this?
who's Lombardi? Like that's what I'm trying to ask you. Like why did you like who's that?
You may not remember. He was a guy that came in here and he came back to us one time and he was like, I thought about a lot what you said and I've changed my mind. I'm not a Trump supporter anymore. And then Lombardi went away. Remember, were you in Mr. Jones Live last night? There was somebody named Stacy the profile picture was like this big gray beard with like black in the middle.
But I just came in like right at the tail end. Like I didn't understand. Okay, I get it now. I see what you're saying now.
It's someone who pretends to be other people consistently. I don't know if oh, okay. Dougie's saying, yeah, that's Lombardi.
Okay. Yeah, because I came in at the tail end of Mr. Jones' lives when you guys were talking about it or whatever about that guy, but I didn't really understand it. That makes sense now.
Well, somebody kicked him, which is probably fine for old Lombardi. Now it's just deep throw. All right, let's cover some stories.
Let's do it.
Let me get to your notes. You put together a hell of an outline for us today. Is there one that you really wanted to talk about?
Well, let's see. The obvious thing we should talk about is that, so they voted for the impeachment inquiry, like no surprise, which from nearest I can tell, what they essentially realized was, or the arguments that began to be made, I think, by White House lawyers or Hunter Biden's lawyers, was that you don't try to make us appear at a hearing, like a hearing for what? Like you don't even have an official impeachment inquiry going on. And so like Jim Jordan alluded to when they, and so I think that they are alluding to the fact that it's because of legal reasons. Like now they can essentially haul Hunter Biden in easier and have more of a legal, more to stand on legally to get him there.
Do you think I've been thinking about this a lot. I think it's very, very possible that this was a Democrat strategy to force them, because they're winning politically. Republicans are winning politically for as long as they can drag this out without actually doing an impeachment inquiry. I don't actually think the Republicans wanted to do this. I think they wanted to keep stretching this out and make Hunter look like he wasn't going to show up. And the Democrats understood that. And so they said, Hunter, go show up. Tell him that you're ready to testify, but you'll only do it legitimately. Nothing changed. Nothing changed in the last 3 weeks. There's no new information that would give the Republicans some
David's here. David.
Yeah. Some sort of what was I saying? There's nothing new that would give them like a leg to stand on and say like, now we open the inquiry. I really do.
Oh no, of course
think
not.
There's Democrats forcing their hand.
Absolutely nothing new. Okay, and we don't have to play all the clips because some of them aren't even that good. But like, I think one of the important themes that I'm hearing is definitely that nothing changed, and that by their own admission, like in the Senate, the man who's been in charge of this same investigation, like that James Comer and Jim Jordan, like in the House, the Ways and Means Committee, which is Jason Smith, the Judiciary Committee, which is Jim Jordan, and the Oversight and Accountability Committee, which is James Comer, that's the investigation. In the Senate, it's a committee headed up by Chuck Grassley. Chuck Grassley, in his own words yesterday, said there is no crime. We haven't found the evidence for impeachment for impeachment vote. We're gonna look for it, like right in the inquiry. So of the people in Congress in charge of this investigation, one of the men is saying, no, we don't have anything. So yeah, nothing has changed. This is still based on nothing.
If this was something that they had good evidence for, it would not be James Comer leading the way. It just wouldn't. James Comer is no...
Didn't get their best and brightest.
For all the dummies that are in the Republican Party, and goddamn, there are a lot of dummies in the Republican Party, but for all the dummies, he's a middle of the roader. He's not smart, he's not the dumbest, but he's just a middle of the road guy. Like, he doesn't understand basic questions. I remember when
he's failing up. He's failing up.
When Moskowitz cornered him and was like, what about all your shell companies? And he's like, these Republicans are so stupid that they think an LLC is a shell company. Not understanding that he's talking about, he calls every one of those Biden companies, Hunter Biden companies, a shell company because they're LLCs. And this isn't him with James Comer, it's not even like he's being slick. He really doesn't know. He's actually not smart. He's not.
But he's the largest landowner in his county.
That's right. Inherited from his dad. He's just he's the epitome of white privilege. Just stand.
That's what I'm saying. He's failing up. This man is not bright. He inherited a little bit of land in Kentucky, and he failed his way into Congress, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, you're right. I just wanted to read this quote real quick. I know it's
Yeah,
distracting.
right.
I'd rather eat tasty food and live a shorter life, Elon Musk said in 2020. Uh, Aside from the daily donuts, Musk is known to enjoy sushi, steak, chocolate, coffee, and caffeine-free Diet Coke. He is not a big fan of vegetables, opting instead for a diet centered around meat and potatoes. He's just a regular Midwestern blue-collar worker.
South
That's who
African.
he is. Yeah. No, he's
Yeah.
got to be. A diet like
Well,
that,
I mean,
he's
like
got
they
to
don't
be
eat
from
healthy
Nebraska.
there. They're not super into like. So
Yeah.
yeah, okay, Elon Musk. That's
We got his.
why am I
Okay.
not? I'm not surprised by that information.
Apparently, that was on when he was on Rogan.
Oh yeah, he knows his audience.
So here were some thoughts I had about when I was at the gym this morning. I was thinking, I don't feel great about Biden's numbers. Obviously, I don't feel great about some of the things he said about Israel. And then obviously, we have this impeachment. You sent some stuff to me earlier today, or maybe actually I put it on, didn't I? This was
You
me.
did it.
That was a me link.
You're so surprised when you do something.
Yeah, well, everybody is. I'm starting to think that Joe Biden is, or at least his team is very forward thinking. They understand what the economy is going to look like next year. They also are very confident that this impeachment hearing will backfire. And I think that's why you see no panic out of all of these Democrats, because these numbers that are coming out in polls are not good. It's not good when he's at 36%. It's not good when his approval rating among Democrats is around like 30%. But the story that came out today, as the Fed has decided not to raise their rates, they are also expected to drop rates 3 times in 2024. So during an election year, the Fed is
good old Jerome Powell,
yeah,
Satan himself,
expected to drop the rates 3 times.
That's the chairman of the Fed, if you guys don't know. He's a scary man.
He doesn't look scary when you see him.
No, yeah, he's just a guy. But you could tell when he gets annoyed, when someone asks him a stupid question or a question he doesn't want, he gets this look on his face where it's like, oh, that man is scary.
That was the first time I think I had seen him. I'd seen him speak was today. I knew what he looked like, but I didn't think I'd ever heard him speak. So, what do you think about?
I used to.
What do you think about that idea that they're playing the long game, that they understand that, and that's why you're not seeing the panic by Democrats right now?
Yeah. So, yes, I do think. I mean, I think yes, it's probably true. And what sticks with me on this topic is a long time ago, like before the midterms, I just remember seeing this random interview. It was at the time like one of Hunter Biden's like lawyers and he was just on some podcast, and I just remember the way he said it. Like, I feel like I have pretty good intuition or whatever, but like the way he described it, he was just like, we did like an oppo, like we sat Hunter Biden down and we made him confess everything. We were like, your dad's life will be ruined if you've done anything wrong. If there's any, you know what I mean? You need to tell us every single thing you've done wrong, no matter what it is, what could come out on that laptop, like, because we need to figure out how to defend you, and more importantly, like, defend your father. And like that lawyer, he's like, but after we had that conversation, it was like a 10-hour long like conversation with Hunter Biden. He's like, I'm confident that there's not going to be anything that will come out that will incriminate his father. He's like, now has Hunter done things wrong, stupid things he might be held accountable for? Absolutely. But he's like, but they don't connect to his father. And like it was the way the guy said it. When you just believe something someone's saying. So far that's turned out to be the case. But like that's the only thing that will change, or like I think they're more or less having to say, because another thing that sticks out is Nancy Pelosi saying it doesn't matter whether they vote for the impeachment inquiry. She's like, we voted for the inquiry and like we investigated for 6 weeks and all the information we already had. Like her point is nothing's going to change. Whatever information they could have, they already have. But Comer is saying, the one thing he is saying that's different, he's like, oh, now that it's official, we're going to get however many thousands more documents.
Yeah, that's so. based on the evidence that we know about, which is that there's no evidence being hid from us by the Republicans. We know what they have. But based on the evidence that they have, their entire claim is going to hinge on Hunter's ability to basically debunk a handful of claims. One of those claims is going to be the loan repayments for the truck. That's going to be easy. That's going to be very easy because those loan payments are going to match the amount that his monthly payments were for the truck. These were just monthly payments, by the way. Joe Biden didn't buy him a truck. He just covered his payments for 3 months. Those are going to match exactly. There's also an email that was written before to his financial advisor saying, like, here's the bills that we need help with. Like, we can't pay. So you have a record of where this money is going, why it's happening. Then you have the repayments. That's going to be, I don't know how you're going to fix that. Then you're also going to have to show the other part, the phone call, right? With the Chinese businessman where he's like, I'm sitting here with my dad and you're in trouble.
Well, Devin Archer said that was nothing, right? I mean, isn't that the call that Devin Archer was present for? I read that transcript.
I don't think it was that call. I don't think this was the one when Hunter was at home. But again, if you can't prove that Joe Biden was in the room and there for that call and agreeing with those things, you have no case. I'm trying to think of like any other accusations that they've made have already been debunked. There's literally 2 or 3 things that they're hanging their hat on now saying like we will prove. And the evidence that we've seen so far is like, how are you going to prove that? If you want to prove Joe Biden was there, you're going to have to track his phone. You're going to have to get GPS coordinates, and then you're going to have to prove that he was in the home. And even if you do prove that he was in the home, then you have to prove that he was next to Hunter and knew what Hunter was texting. I'm in the house with people texting all the time. Do you ever know what anybody else is texting? Never.
No, and then you have to refute. Devin Archer's testimony is that very much that Hunter sold the illusion of access to his father.
That's true. That's true. Yeah, that's a hard one to overcome too. Is Devin Archer saying, yeah, Hunter Biden did say these things. That's how we were tricking people into giving us money. That's a good point. I was surprised by Hunter's voice, by the way.
I've heard it.
I wanted a more sultry voice. It wasn't as sultry as I wanted it to be. Yeah, so it's a hard thing to... But I wouldn't be surprised if Joe Biden gets impeached. I really wouldn't. Depending on when they actually vote, I'm trying to think of a Republican in the House that's not going to vote to impeach him. Like, if they voted to impeach right now without a case, they would all vote to impeach him. They do not care. The fact that they've asked for an inquiry with no evidence shows exactly how they're going to vote. So I wouldn't be shocked if he got impeached. But there's no way in the Senate that they're going to do anything about it.
They're just slowly keeping a pressure campaign on moderate Republicans. You know what I mean? And the more time goes on, before it was like, we're not voting for an impeachment inquiry. You know what I mean? They didn't want Kevin McCarthy to take that vote to the floor. And time went on. They continued pressuring, said they were going to primary some of them. Like, it's like a full court press on far right media against these people. Ken Buck is literally not running again, like, because of it. So
right.
And I don't like Ken Buck, but like apparently we see now Ken Buck has a line of of BS that he's not willing to cross.
We found it.
Yeah, we found Ken Buck's line.
For those in the comments about impeachment, just as a reminder, just in case you didn't know, you get impeached in the House. That's basically just saying, yeah, we think the president did something wrong, that we think it was some sort of high crime or misdemeanor. And it can also even be as simple as just like behavior that a president shouldn't do. It's really broad. But in order to be removed from office, then you go to the Senate and they decide whether or not to remove you from office.
There's a trial. Yeah, there's a trial.
So when you say somebody's been impeached, that really doesn't mean a whole lot other than there was a trial that went to the Senate. That's why Clinton finished his presidency. That's why Trump finished his presidency. And impeachment is really... It's more like an indictment, I guess, right? It's saying, here's the indictment, now go try this case.
Yeah, so they have to find a crime, essentially. Like, we're reverse engineering this. Like, Donald Trump said, they impeached me, I want him impeached. And James Comer, Jim Jordan, Jason Smith, and Chuck Grassley are desperately trying to reverse engineer a case and figure out a crime, and as of yet, they can't do it.
Right. And let's remember, articles of impeachment were filed for Joe Biden on day one. And none of this information was known. The stuff that they wanted to impeach him for, Marjorie Taylor Greene, like, they're not even using that information. This has been a retribution thing forever. As soon as it started, it was just Donald Trump saying, "Hey, do to him what I feel like they did to me," which is pretty crazy. Raskin nailed it. He's like, at least we could tell you what he did. At least we could tell you what we were accusing him of doing. And think of this, like just imagine it was you, Republicans. Imagine that somebody showed up and they took you to court and they had no evidence of any crimes that you committed. Just imagine that. Now you've got to pay an attorney. Now you've got to give up your time. And now you have to go to court. And they said, when they took you to court, the judge said, what are the crimes? And they're like, we're not sure. We're just, during court, we're going to dig through their life and we're going to try and find a crime. Like, that's not how our justice system works. That none of you would be okay with that. Not one of you would be okay with that. You can't start an inquiry and say, like, what's the crime? Oh, we'll figure it out. That's your party. Your party is a joke.
Yeah, it's a literal witch hunt. I was watching, Ron Filipkowski was on Stephanie Rule's show, like whatever, I can't remember what it's called, last night on MSNBC. And like what he was pointing out was, he was saying like Comer promised over and over again in 2022 that he had been able, that he had 5 to 10 million in bribes from foreign governments paid directly to Joe Biden. Do you remember that? Like not a year ago, Comer's story was $5 to $10 million in bribes that went directly to Joe Biden. And now we're on truck payments totaling $5,000.
Just under 5,000. Yeah,
is where we're at. Is where we're at now, people. They don't have a crime. Like, this is insane.
I didn't think about that. Yeah, 5 million in bribes down to 4,000 and change of loan repayments
for a 2018 Ford Raptor.
Yeah. And again, let's remind the things that you guys say you're upset about. Remember the border that you guys are so upset about? Well, your Republicans aren't going to do anything to change that. They're not working across the aisle with Democrats to try and come up with solutions that work for both sides. No, they're just going out and complaining about it and saying, we should be worried about this, and then spending all their time trying to impeach Joe Biden for lending his son close to $5,000 that was repaid.
If anyone's finances were combed over, yeah, I just think it's wild that we've gotten here. And that James Comer has no line, or Trump has something on him. Like, how much public embarrassment? How like, this is his legacy now. This is what James Comer's legacy is.
I used to think that
for Jim Jordan, he already let the Ohio State wrestlers down in the worst way. Like, this is just on bar. This is just his brand. This is Jim Jordan. This is the natural progression of his life.
It's very easy to convince somebody once they have power, that the most important thing for them is to stay in power. And it's easy to convince yourself of that, right? So once you have this kind of power and you believe you're the good guys, you're going to overlook everybody else's behavior, because again, that detracts from the point that you're the good guys and you're here to do something good. So they all convince themselves that they're fighting this battle, this moral battle, and that only they can solve this problem. And then when they get to Washington and they don't do a goddamn thing, they convince themselves that it's not their fault. It's the Democrats' fault. It's not. They're serving justice here. They have to go after Joe Biden because it's justice. That's what they have a oath of office that they have to uphold. And I honestly do think that a majority of these Republicans think that. They're that dumb. And they're that self-important that they will literally ignore the rest of the world. Because like TikTok, Washington is a small place. And these are still regular people. And if all they get every day is emails and briefings of, here are your talking points today, here's what's going on, do you really think these people in Congress are going out and reading stories about the everyday American? Do you think they're out there with everyday Americans? Do you think they understand what's happening in their districts, with individual businesses, with individual cities? No, they don't. They're handed a list of talking points every single day. And if you bring in enough dumb people, they'll say really dumb shit and they won't think for themselves. And that's what we have with the Republican Party. Put all the dumb people up front with the biggest mouths and just make them repeat the shit that you write for them. That's what they're doing.
And they don't care. They don't know their constituents. They only answer to the lobbyists that fund their campaigns. That is the only thing good about Matt Gaetz that I will say. Like, I think because he is truly Machiavellian and doesn't want anyone to have leverage over him, he does not accept money from lobbyists. Like, that is the most noble thing, may possibly the only
noble thing
that Matt Gaetz has ever done.
I'm looking at the box. We got Jay, Julie laughing, Trump, and Pragmatics. I didn't see it. This is going to be a correction. Everybody follow Pragmatics. This is the smartest person in our Discord. Sorry to everybody else. Or maybe Pragmatics isn't going to come up. Julie laughing and Jay, are either of you guys opposition, though? That we know of. That's true. There could be some silent, smart people. Welcome.
Yes, I would like to say first that I am definitely not the smartest person in the Discord.
It's a lot to live up to.
I want to go back to Jerome Powell, my best friend in the whole world. If you, people in the comments, if you're a free market capitalist, and you ever need a little bit of dose of like reality, I want you to watch a FOMC meeting. I want you to go and I want you to watch a free market. I think it's a free market committee or free open market committee is what the acronym is. And listen to this man during a time of high interest rates, look you right in the face and say, we need higher unemployment. He will look you right in the face and tell you he wants you to be unemployed.
High unemployment. Yeah, he loves it. He wants no one to have a job. It's like cruel. I mean, true capitalism. Like, that man has no soul.
And for everybody who is a Trump supporter, in fact,
you didn't know the Federal Reserve controls unemployment rates.
Yep. If you're a Trump supporter in here and you were flipping out about high interest rates, just remember Jerome Powell was at the head of that, and he was a Trump appointee. Thanks, guys. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Yeah, 100% right. That's what happens when you get to like these levels of decisions. It's always data, right? And the data is like, how can we make these other data points better? And it goes to show that the data that they're looking at and the data that they care about doesn't really translate into how well Americans are doing. Like, they're using outdated data sets to decide whether or not our economy is healthy or not, to decide whether or not our country is healthy or not. I've seen that video. I'm pretty sure. I can't find it. All right. There you go, Felice.
About damn time. Damn it. You always make me suffer there, Jay, when it's your live. I've always said this. I've always said they're gonna raise the economy, or they're gonna help the economy during Joe Biden's. They're gonna lower interest rate, most definitely. I agree with you on that.
Yeah, because they said it. That's The Trump.
But I've been saying this for fucking like a year.
The Trump appointed chair of the Reserve is now saying we're going to lower interest rate because he's on Joe Biden's side.
Yeah, because they've been raising them for a year. They're bound to at some point stop.
It's election year.
Them. If that's what you're saying, you predicted.
We really didn't get that high though. We really didn't get that high for interest rates though.
They left them flat, and they said they may in 2024 lower them.
They're going to lower them. I guarantee it. They don't want old Joe to look bad.
Wait, but this is a Trump appointee. So are you saying he's now turned on Trump too?
No, he's not turned on Trump. I'm just saying that I think that
he just wants
orchestrated by the
Biden.
government. I think that's the way it's going to go. Plus, it's election year. That usually will straighten out our economy.
Have you ever seen like a good number for Joe Biden and ever thought maybe that's just a good number, or is it always a conspiracy?
No, right now it's just plateaued. It's not like it's a good number right now. Anyway, I'm just saying my prediction is it's going down.
Holding steady is good. That's a good. Well, that's a good prediction considering they just said today they're going to drop it 3 times next year.
Yeah, but I've been saying this for a long time, and all my Trump people are like, it's going to be a fucked economy forever. And I said, not during Joe Biden's reelection. I fucking bet you that.
What does it tell you about your position that if the economy gets better, so as things get better for Americans, it gets worse for Trump? Do you like being on that side? Where you're rooting for America to keep failing?
I think the facade during the election between Joe Biden and Donald Trump is going to look, the economy is going to look great.
What do you mean facade? What do you mean by facade?
Well, because shortly after the election, if he was to stay in, it would go downhill. But he ain't staying in, so we're not worried about that.
Wait, but why is it a facade? I don't understand what you're saying. So are you saying that like the record high numbers with the Dow today, the unemployment?
No, that's just been my conspiracy theory with my own people.
Hold on, I'm just saying.
The stock market, the Dow hit an all-time high yesterday, David.
Yeah, I know, but I've been arguing. You don't understand. This is like an inside thing. Like I argue with my own people about this. I said, you don't understand. They're going to make this economy look great under Joe Biden at the end of his fucking presidency. I guarantee it.
So so you think the economy is something that we can just like fake now?
So yeah, that's my conspiracy theory. I got my tinfoil hat behind me, but I'm not putting it on right now.
So then why wouldn't we just assume that all those numbers, good numbers from Donald Trump, were fake? If the economy can be faked, wouldn't why would Joe Biden have spent 3 years with these numbers? Why wouldn't he have faked them from the start?
Recovering from COVID, if it was all fake.
Because you have to pay people back. Because you have to pay people back through the war machine. You guys believe in the war machine for one thing, but you don't believe in the war machine for the other.
Wait, who are we paying back?
Everybody that had to shut down during COVID.
So we're just sending out payments to them?
Payments come in a variety of forms. It's trade. It's done through money. Do you know how money washing works, Jay?
Yeah, I do, but I'm just wondering who's getting these checks.
The elite that are getting paid through the war efforts.
And why? And secondly, why would us giving them checks?
Definitely. That's why they call it a machine.
Couldn't we have given them money and faked the numbers too?
No, you can't just hand out money and make it look like hand out $300 billion just to somebody for no reason. See, that's not money.
Are you saying the stock market hitting an all-time high is part of a conspiracy to fake the health of the American economy? That's what we're asking.
No, I don't think we're in any kind of faking stage yet. I think we're like him leveling the interest rates right now. Him leveling the interest rates right now.
It's only fake when it gets good. Is that what you're saying?
No, it's
when it gets better. That's fake.
It's not good. The economy is definitely not good right now. But
by what are you using what are your indicators?
Dude, like I said, man, I'm in the vacation industry, and it's fucking in half, literally in half. Okay, literally, probably worse.
Yeah. So what drives that? Why are people vacationing less?
Well, right now the economy, the weather right now for me.
Yeah, sure. Where you're at,
that's uncontrollable. You can't control the weather, right?
Sure.
So they say.
What generally causes people to travel? What generally causes people to travel less?
High prices.
Or even if the prices are low, they might not have money, right?
Yeah, I mean, there's not, everything's inflated. It's expensive. They're holding on to money.
Gotcha. And so as people, maybe
which is dumb. Money's not valuable. Money's not very valuable right now. But hey, no, hang on. Let's go to Hunter Biden, please. Fuck the economy shit right now.
Hold on. If I go to the grocery store with $100 bill, or if I go to the grocery store with my iPhone, which one are they going to take as payment?
Well, do you have your?
No.
Do you have your
the
card
iPhone.
linked to your phone?
It's just turned. It's just turned off.
Don't you have tap pay, dude? Come on.
It's just turned off. It's an old iPhone. I'm just gonna trade him an iPhone for my groceries. Which one of those has the value?
What are you buying? You buying a bag of chips, or are you trying to get $50 worth of groceries, or what?
I'm buying 80.
You can't get 50 these days.
I'm buying 85 pounds of elbow macaroni, and I need it's
okay.
So
Me about
Jay,
$100. Don't ask. You know it's high in the grocery store.
No, I'm just asking. Okay? You said money doesn't have value, and David, this
is not like it did. No.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So you're saying that money buys less.
I said money across seas. The exchange rate sucks, dude, right now.
Yeah. Okay. So that's what you're saying. You're saying that people have less buying power. Now, are there any people in this country who have more buying power than they did?
Yeah, there's plenty of people.
Who would those people mostly be, David?
Jeff Bezos definitely has buying power.
Yeah. So
you hate that guy, but
I don't hate. Well, I do hate Jeff Bezos, but not anymore.
I don't really like Jeff Bezos.
Hoarding wealth is a crime.
He's not really cool.
That amount of wealth.
So, David, would you say that maybe
kind of funny how Hunter didn't show up like he was subpoenaed to do? Huh?
Would you say maybe, Dave? We'll get to that, David.
I love his little press release.
David, we'll get there, David. We'll get there. Would you think that maybe it's a good idea that we start spreading the money around a little more? So when
I'm not a socialist, Jay.
I'm
not a socialist. Dude.
I wasn't done yet. That's not socialism, my friend. Socialism is when workers own the means of production. I'm not talking about socialism.
But that's what you want. Don't hold their money. Don't hold their money.
No, I don't. what I'm saying is maybe we should have a system where people can't hoard billions of dollars while nobody can afford groceries.
Good luck. It ain't gonna work, bro.
Why not?
It's just I don't think you'll get it. I understand you want it.
What you know why, David? See, here's what you just said. You're like, good, yeah, that's a great idea, Jay, but you won't get it, and you're really close to the answer.
I didn't say it was a great idea. Don't put words in my mouth.
Oh, you don't think it's a good idea?
David's too scared to change the system.
You don't think
honestly,
David, you don't think it's a good idea for
sometimes
people
I want to sell
David,
out, dude.
David, you don't think it's a good idea for people to have more money?
I don't think it's a good idea to control it via government what you can and can't
I'm
do.
not advocating for that.
Yes, you are. You're trying to say that don't hoard money and make it illegal for people to hoard money.
Correct.
That's government control, my friend. So,
right.
Correct. That's government control.
Yeah. So
I'm not for that.
You didn't say government. Okay. So you would rather see just eventually all the money wind up in the hands of like 20 people.
Yeah.
Okay. So you just like oligarchies. And I think that's true, David. Like I do.
I'd rather put them in charge than the government.
Yeah.
He's looking forward for the dictatorship coming. Remember,
I think that
at least the dictatorship hands you the weapons to fight him. You know what I mean?
I think that's a good.
The government wants to take your weapons and say, live like this, guys.
David, I think that's a good encapsulation of who you are. You wait to be told what to do and think, and you've chosen a side. And since you've chosen this side with Trump, no facts, no logic, nothing will ever bring you back because you have
the impeachment with no evidence. Right?
You are a person who you don't trust like your own knowledge. You don't trust your own research. You don't trust your numbers because
I trust capitalism, my own knowledge, my own research, bro.
That's what I'm saying because you trust what everybody else says because you don't understand it. And I'm just telling you, David,
guys.
Your lack of understanding is why you have to live this way. You have to live in a way where you desperately need somebody that you think is smarter than you, and you base that on who has the most money.
Jay, it's not always an educational moment.
And you just wait around for those people to tell you what to do, and you can't wait till the day that you're just living as a serf under the rule of these oligarchs. You're looking forward to that. The irony of you advocating for capitalism and the ability to run your own business while also saying, yeah, I want the oligarchs to control everything. David, I'm going to ask you a favor. I'm going to ask you not to be a fucking asshole for 2 seconds. Don't play audio. David, you called my mom a whore the other day.
I did not.
On a live. Yeah, you did.
I did not. That's such a lie, dude.
Essentially, David, you said that
I did not.
That my
I just said you were adopted, dude.
Yes.
I was afraid of this. Why, David? Why
this is why, David.
Why
are you getting all...
So, David, I'm going to ask you to be a normal human being.
That was not meant to be offensive, dude.
And don't play sound effects when other people are talking.
Don't say I said that about your mom.
Be a normal human being, David. Don't interrupt people's sentences with your.
But that wasn't true, Jay.
You're like a 12-year-old. This is what I'm telling you, David. You don't know enough to have an opinion. You don't. You don't know enough about.
Here goes the demonizing side of you, right?
No, this is me.
First, you cried
David,
about something, and I didn't say that.
You don't know what you're talking about. That's what I'm saying.
I did not say that, Jay.
Wait, hold on, David. Stop denying it. Because independently of him, I had not spoken to him after that live because I went to sleep early. The next day, Nemo also hadn't spoken to him. He told me the same exact thing out of his own mouth.
We were talking about broken homes, and I just said he was adopted. That's it. That's all. And he said, my mom's in here. And I said, oh, I'm sorry. Dude, I did not say anything bad.
No.
She is
just shedding light that you were adopted. You should understand broken homes.
No.
That's all, dude.
No. What you said is, we were talking about women. We were talking about marriage in general. And we were talking about choices.
Broken homes.
You brought up the fact that I was adopted. When we were talking about women. It doesn't matter, David. I don't really care about this. It
wasn't meant to be like that, dude.
Listen,
you took it the wrong way. I'm sorry.
I don't care about this, honestly. I just want you to understand that.
Well, don't say I called your mom something I didn't. That's not true.
Shut up. I want
David,
you to
what you should be saying is, hey, if I hurt you because
I did say sorry.
Let's drop this shit. I don't care about this shit. I'm not doing this. I want you
But Jay, you know that wasn't made to be like that.
I don't care.
I know you don't care because
I don't. Look, I love my mom. She's brilliant. She's a million times.
Well, don't make it out to be like I meant anything bad. I just was talking about in general to shed light to broken homes. My mom died. I come from a broken home.
Then what were you alluding to, David? What's the problem with broken homes?
Because we were talking about how I think when you raise your kid a certain way, okay, I think that you can cause all the things that are happening in society today. And I think somebody can relate.
Yes.
Being from a broken home. I'm from a broken home too, dude.
Yes, and you were saying that my lack of your morals was because my mom chose to leave a family and give me up for adoption.
You said it was for your own good reason too.
And you were applying that to morals. David, I will say this. I don't have any of the beliefs that you have, but you have no morals. You have zero morals. You will lie every single day, and what you do.
What am I lying about?
And what you do, David, is you refuse.
What do I lie about?
You refuse to educate yourself so that you can say, "I'm not lying. I'm just dumb." But you do this every day. You show up every single day and say things that aren't true, and then you come on my live.
What?
And your ADHD is so bad that you can't even listen to a sentence. You got to play your little noises all day long. David, if you want to be taken seriously as a human being, then learn how to have a conversation one-on-one. And that means
that's only because you just want to hear yourself.
That means not playing fucking sound effects in the middle of somebody's sentence. David, you're impossible to talk to because every single time you get cornered,
it was super long, dude. That's all.
You move to another point. Every single time.
I just said the capitalism thing when we were going into capitalism, when we were talking about capitalism, I was like, yeah, okay, this is just my prediction.
David, what is capitalism?
Oh, come on, don't make everything a fucking education, like try to make me look to be dumb, dude, because that's all you do.
Yes, David, I'm exposing you because you don't know
exposing me, dude?
What's capitalism? What is it?
However you want to put your capitalism. People start businesses.
David, what's capitalism?
You start businesses. You become CEOs. You work for somebody else, or you're a small business. It's the economy in general, the way it works.
No, the economy exists whether it's capitalism or not. What is capitalism?
It's finances, man. It's investments. It's investing into capital, man. You take your capital,
you invest with capital.
Yeah, you take your capital and invest it into properties and things. I mean, lots of stuff.
Gotcha. So capitalism is basically just that private owners can profit. That's it.
Yeah.
So David, when we're talking about capitalism and we're talking about a system where the private owners of businesses like Amazon can profit in the way that they can, that's what we're talking about. It's at a point now where they have so much profit and so much money that they will own everything, and you will be a serf. You will be working for them. You won't own your house. You won't have your own business. No, this has played out all over the world. Again, have you read the Communist
We're not all over the world. We're America.
Have you read the Communist Manifesto? Have you read Marx?
Dude, I'm not.
You didn't. No, you haven't, David. You are uneducated about all of this.
You're so angry anymore, dude.
Because I don't really like you that much anymore, David. Because you've
that sucks. I like you, Jay.
You've become a person who is absolutely convinced of things that you know nothing about. You take strong,
I knew that about you already, Jay. That sucks because I like you.
You take strong stances, David. You take strong stances without any backing. You advocate for capitalism.
That's not true either.
You don't know what it is.
Once again, you're telling lies. Jay tells lies.
I got it. What lies did I tell, David?
Well, that I don't believe anything off fact.
I didn't say you don't believe it.
That I tell lies.
I said you don't know things.
Oh, you always try to call me dumb in front of your whole audience, dude. That's okay, Jay. I still like you anyway. You can hate me all you want, but I still like you.
I don't care, David.
So I know you became this angry person.
I don't know, David. I'm not an angry person. I've been happy this entire time.
You're scared of the world. I get it.
No, I'm not. I'm afraid that people listen to you. I'm afraid that people hear you and they hear your confidence and they confuse that with you making educated claims.
I got an email for Donald Trump, by the way.
See, there it is. See, you can't even listen to a sentence, David. You're not
I'm sorry, dude.
You are nothing but a glorified cheerleader. You're told what to say, and you go out there.
Who tells me what to say?
And you say it.
Who tells me what to say?
Donald Trump.
Guys, tap the screen.
Oh my God.
Let's get to the
Look at, turn around, David. Turn around.
Yeah.
What's behind you?
Why does that bother you?
David, ever since Trump started advocating for fascism, you literally changed your whole personality and are now going around saying, "Oh yeah, I want fascism," because you heard Donald Trump say it. If he tomorrow came out and said, "Here,
I've always had him dressed like a king."
Now you would be a socialist. That's what we're trying to tell you. You don't have an actual belief system. You're not researching like what's best for your family, what policies. You're just like Donald Trump tells me which way the wind blows, and I
That's not true, though.
that.
It's 100%.
I agree with Project
true.
2025. I agree with Project 2025.
You haven't read Project 2025.
I have it printed out right here, and I've read quite
David,
a bit.
You would know you haven't. We've talked about it.
Then, David.
I have it sitting on my computer right now.
Tell me that means you printed something. Tell me one.
No, hang on. Let's don't go all the way there yet. Let's talk about Hunter, please.
Tell me one part of Project 2025 that you agree with.
I came in here for Hunter. Come on,
Tell
guys.
me one part of Project 2025 that you agree with.
By the way, it's not an
Tell me
impeachment,
one part of Project 2025 that you agree with.
So don't say Mike Pence said that he would never do that.
David,
or Mike,
David,
Mega Mike,
David,
sorry.
nobody cares. Answer the question.
Oh,
Give me
we
one
care.
part of Project 2025 that you agree with.
I agree with allowing him to hire and fire the entire staff. I mean,
That
the
already
entire
exists.
staff.
That's not Project 2025. That's
Yes, it is. It has to do with the executive branch. Anyway, I have to go back to the paper and look at it. I don't retain information.
David.
Okay?
This is
Ask
exactly what
Felice.
Felice said. You don't know. You just know that you agree
Dude,
with
I'm sitting
Trump.
right behind it.
You just agree with Trump. You don't know anything about.
I can't remember everything.
2020. No, you can't remember anything, David. Not one
Okay,
thing
so Project
far.
2025, they want to get rid of this fucking woke agenda in our schools. I agree with that, okay? So if you want to paint me to be what I'm not, go ahead.
Well,
because that's
hold
what
on,
you wanted
That's
to
a
hear.
fallacy.
You wanted to hear
David,
the buzzword.
brought to you by the Moms of Liberty. That's not even a thing happening.
No, you wanted to
Project
hear.
2025 is a literal social engineering project.
Yeah, I don't believe in teaching systemic racism in class and stuff like that. Yes, I don't believe in that.
It's not taught. Listen, CRT specifically, David, which I've already explained this to you, and you refuse to.
So don't
hear.
say I don't know
It's
Project
a college.
2025.
It's a college. That's not what it
do.
is, David. It's not what you're describing is not happening. CRT is a college level course that discusses how different systems are. We're going
to eliminate the schools.
To favor.
There's going to be money going to
rich,
parents for charter
white
schools.
Landowners. That's who the Constitution included originally. White landowners. So
Look,
it's CRT.
paint the
it's
racism all you
about how
want.
systems were built around that and to benefit those people, and it's about how those systems work to oppress anyone that is not in that group. David, that's
don't
a college
need-
level course. No, in schools, David, you need to hear this. CRT is not being taught. Stop saying that.
I'm in Oregon.
It's
It
being
is.
taught in elementary school or in high school. It's not.
It is. And there's also tampons in the
what
boys'
you
bathroom.
don't want is
what's
people
critical
learning
race theory?
about the transatlantic slave trade.
David,
And there's also-
David. What's critical race theory?
I think that critical race theory, there's a lot of theories on it. And they're theories. They really are theories.
Yeah,
because they're
it's
teaching
called
history.
Theory. It's called a theory. We all
I know,
understand that
I
critical
know,
race theory
I
is
know.
a theory. What is it?
So, there's different authors that are doing different books now, and they're
I
trying to
understand that,
paint
but what is it?
history
What is
into
it?
a different narrative. They're trying to paint history into a different narrative and pin kids
I'm
up
not-
against each other.
No, David. I'm
Yes,
not
they are.
asking. No, David, listen. I'm not asking you to tell me some things that you've read about critical race theory. I'm not telling you some examples of critical race theory that might be taught. I'm asking you what critical race theory is. What is
Well,
it?
I mean, the fundamentals behind it is supposed to be good, like teaching people what happened in history. I mean, that's not bad by itself.
Do you know what critical theory is?
Yeah, being critical situation. What's going on?
Okay.
I mean,
yeah. So critical theory is basically looking at whatever you have. Let's say a society, and you're looking at that society, and you're looking for the parts that like aren't going well, and you find parts of society that aren't going well, and you criticize or you're critical of those aspects,
Right.
and you figure out ways to fix them. Critical race theory is just saying we're doing the exact same thing, except for we're going to focus on are any of these issues caused by race. And if the issues
like constructive criticism.
and if the issues are caused by race, we should fix them. David, do you think it's okay for us to look at our system and just suss out like whether or not some things are caused by race?
Yeah, of course it is.
Okay, that's critical race theory. So you agree
I
with
know.
critical race theory. But the problem is, David, and here's the number one problem with you, is that you care about outcomes and you don't care about how those outcomes are accomplished. Like for me, David, I want I want the Republican Party to go away. What I would not advocate for is giving power to Joe Biden to dismantle the Republican Party, to put you all in jail. Now, you are different. You say, I want my things my way so bad that I'm willing to give power to one single person in order to get my way. It is
dictator for a day.
You don't care about democracy. You don't care about me. You don't care about my family. You don't care about Felice. And this is why, David, I say that
you just went off on a rant. This, David, and didn't even let me explain why I don't like it.
And this, David, is why I say I don't like you as much anymore. Because
you don't even give me. You didn't even let me tell you what I don't like about it.
All you care about is Donald Trump, and you're advocating for a person who will come in and harm others to get the policies that you want. You care about no one but yourself.
Jesus. So Jay, the whole time you just went off on a rant about I don't like.
Just respond to what I said.
You don't know why.
I'm not asking for a criticism of me. Respond to what I said.
Yeah, I know, but I'm saying I'm giving you my criticism in my comments. So the reason you'd be a fool to say that people don't abuse their authority ever, okay? That includes when they have the authority to teach our kids and write books, okay? And they want to put this slanted narrative to pin kids up against each other using history to do it.
Do you think it's wrong to abuse your authority?
Yes.
Then why the fuck are you advocating for fascism? You're advocating that Donald Trump be allowed to abuse the authority that he's been given by our Constitution, that he will take more powers than our Constitution has granted.
Find me the man, I'll find you the crime.
This is the thing, David.
That's you guys.
You don't care about people overstepping their role.
That's Stalin, bro.
You don't care about people forcing their agenda on others as long as it's the same agenda that you like. And what's convenient for you is you don't have a fucking agenda. Your only agenda is to just do whatever Trump says and defend it blindly. You don't know what he's advocating
Not
for.
blindly,
you
bro.
Don't know what
Not
he
blindly.
stands for. You just put up the signs of Donald Trump behind you, and then you just do whatever he says.
You're so angry anymore, dude.
You have no real feelings. You have no real prospects for like what you want to see out of this country. The only thing you care about is that Donald Trump is president. If Donald Trump's like, hey, by the way, we're also going to segregate the country, you'd be like, cool, let's do it. I'm now a segregationist. I'm a fascist. I'm a segregationist. I'm
Democrats for Trump.
I'm whatever you want me to be. You know what I really think you are, David? And I think you're a coward.
Oh, you think, okay.
Yeah.
You're the one always crying about somebody's after you, bro, not me.
And David, there's no narrative being taught in schools that is divisive between minority children and white children. That is not occurring. You need to stop saying that. That's what the Moms of Liberty told you. That's not happening. We're not even teaching people that Columbus didn't help the Indians unless you go to college. Like, we are full on deluding people about the history of this country.
You live in Arizona.
So, no. Stop, David. I used to be a teacher. Don't tell me what curriculum looks like, David. And
Oregon is not that way.
Stop talking. You're talking about creating it's wrong that you're saying white kids are being made to feel uncomfortable, which I'm saying not through the historical curriculum being taught in schools. That's an absolute fallacy. But the thing is, David, about your children that I do care about, and I care about your wife, who's an immigrant, and I care about your biracial children because I as well am biracial, multiracial, and I understand what it's like to feel like that in school. And you as a parent need to educate yourself about what's going on with race in this country and how children are being discriminated against. You are not prepared to parent a biracial child in today's society. I care very much because I was one, and my mother was like you and didn't think
now I'm not prepared for my kids.
My experience,
CPS coming in my house.
My experience was completely different. And listen, at best, my mom genuinely didn't know what she was doing and how damaging it could be. And at worst, something else entirely was happening there. But it is when you are the parent of a biracial child, you need to educate yourself about that and understand. You don't even understand that CRT is not being taught in schools.
Oh, it is being taught in school, especially in Oregon.
You have no idea what I literally sat here before I went to the bathroom and I told you what CRT was. I told you it's a graduate level course. It's only taught in college, and you didn't hear any of that.
No, that's not true. But what I'm saying is in different states it's being taught different ways. That's why they call it theory, okay? Because we have a theory about some of this stuff too.
That's absolutely not why.
What is
No, that's
being
not
taught-
why you're right.
What,
I mean,
what
I
was
gotta
being
admit
taught?
that I'm
What
wrong
was
on
being
that
taught
part.
to your children that was a problem, David? What part of CRT
right.
did your children get taught that was a problem?
I would say more of the woke agenda than the
No,
CRT. Okay?
what specifically were your children taught that was it? Because you obviously you're not a teacher.
They're trying to put tampons in
hold
boys'
on,
bathrooms.
Hold on.
Actually, it's law in Oregon.
Obviously, you're not a teacher, so you don't know the curriculum. I just asked you what part of CRT.
I didn't say curriculum
I just
right now.
asked you what part of CRT you had a
I just
problem
agreed with her.
and you said tampons in the bathroom.
Yeah, I said because I said more of the woke agenda
what,
than the critical
what
race theory.
part of okay, so
right
you
now.
don't have a problem. So CRT is not being taught, and you agree with CRT.
No, but I agree with. Okay, so let me step it back. Let me step back my stance a little bit.
If you believe systemic racism exists, which you say all the time,
It does.
David, that you that is what CRT is about. It's about looking at this
I
country was
understand.
built and to benefit the people it recognized as voting citizens, which were rich male landowners, white.
Let me
landowners.
reanalyze my situation for a second and
that's
change
what
my
it is.
stance. You want
already
to change
say
people's
you know
opinion,
Systemic racism exists. Stop debating it.
but you want to change people's opinion. So let me step back on my stance a little bit. Okay. So what I will say is I don't like what's being told to me. Okay, what's being told to me, whether it's Fox News, whether it's right slanted media, that's telling me, well, they're trying to pin this critical race theory so your kids so they could be angry with one another because of their race. And if that's being done, I'm no expert, okay? But if that's being done, that's what I'm against. So isn't that an okay stance? Is that an okay stance?
No, it's stupid, and I'll explain why. David,
okay.
If you're teaching children that in this country black people were oppressed specifically by white people, that is accurate history.
But that's not what I said.
Hold on. But this is.
I was trying to take back my stance for you
listen.
guys.
No, but listen. When we are teaching things like that, when we're teaching things about historical oppression, specifically by white people,
do you really want to fix things, Jay?
David? Yes. If you'll shut the fuck up for a second, you'll hear what I'm saying. We're teaching that, and in many Republican states, they are banning teaching that historically in this country, black people were oppressed by white people. And the excuse that they're using is that this turns kids against each other. Well, what kids, David? What kids? Who's this going to hurt? Are you saying that it's going to hurt white kids' feelings to find out that their ancestors oppressed black people? Well, okay. Sorry. Being honest is okay. David, I came out of a cult.
being honest is.
When I came out of a cult,
But you're not being honest.
When I came out of a cult, I found out how much oppression my cult had or how much my cult had oppressed other people. I found out how much abuse they had caused.
Practice what you preach. Why not be honest then?
I am, David. I am practicing what I preach.
Not.
Which is why when I left a cult that oppressed people, I decided I would never again be part of an organization who actively oppresses people. And the Republican Party, led by Donald Trump, actively oppresses the LGBTQ community. They actively oppress African-American
And I told you, if Donald Trump's
communities.
lying, I'll change my
They
stance.
actively oppress African-American communities. They
But he's not
actively oppress women. And you're cool with it. And you're saying this
No, I'm
party
not.
that actively
Don't put words
oppresses
in my mouth
all
like
these
that.
people, you know what we should do is give them unlimited power. Unchecked power.
It's not unchecked, but yes, unlimited
Who's
upfront
checking
power.
it? Who would check Donald Trump's? Who would force
Our
Donald Trump to-
Congress.
Who would?
Our
no,
Congress.
How?
Impeachment.
Impeachment doesn't mean anything.
Oh, it does if you convict.
No, that's in the Senate.
I know it's in the Senate. I'm saying
but
it
guess
does
what?
mean
But then
something
if
you
Donald
convict.
Trump has control of
That's
the
our check and
courts,
balance, bro.
there's the courts too, and then the courts can overrule that. And we've already learned that the courts will tell us one thing and lie and say they wouldn't do something, and then they absolutely will.
So our system needs to be fixed, of course. But what I would like you to do,
Yes,
if you
but
could, is be honest.
So
be
fix
honest,
our
bro.
system. So fix our system before we put in a fascist. Don't ask a fascist to fix our system.
So we're so uneducated, guys. Remember, we're so uneducated.
Not
all
guys,
of us, okay?
you're talking to me, and I'm saying you're
No,
so
I know.
uneducated.
No, I'm saying, but in general,
No,
you
you're
guys.
talking for you. You want
Okay,
me to
for
talk
me,
you.
for me, Jay. Okay, for me, I'm uneducated, so I'm gonna fit your narrative here. Okay,
Thank you.
Why can't you ever be honest about like the reasons we fear these things? And you can be like, okay, well that's understandable, but actually it's not being taught this way,
David,
guys. We should
I
change the
am-
way I think.
David, I am
Not
honest.
really. You yell and
I know-
scream and
David, I know why
fearmonger,
you're.
dude.
I know why you're scared, and I've spent months, hours,
For my kids.
hours after hours after hours I've spent talking to you. And you know what happens, David? Every
What?
time we like find some sort of agreement, like 2 days later, I'll see you on a live arguing the opposite point again. Why? Because you found out that doesn't fit.
Oh, that's why you're frustrated with me.
That it doesn't fit Trump's narrative. Yeah, dude, you're just in a cult. And
No,
and you know
so-
why? I got out of a cult by people speaking to me like I'm speaking to you. It's no longer, David, a place where I'm going to say, "Oh, David, have your opinion and I'll have mine, and we'll just agree to disagree." No, if you can't state facts about anything that you believe in, I'm going to continue to demand facts from you, and you don't have.
No,
any.
I do. I told you. I told
Okay,
you why
let's-
I feel that way about that. Those
I
are
didn't-
feelings.
Those are
Those are feelings.
Yes, those are
But
feelings.
those are
David.
feelings.
Your entire existence is feelings, and not
No, not
facts.
your entire existence. I'm talking about the critical
Okay, give me
race
some
stuff
facts
because
then.
there's
'Cause
no
I
there's no
asked
way.
you I asked you what Project 2025 was. You didn't know. I asked you what
I
critical race
no,
theory
that's not
was.
true.
You didn't
That's not
know.
true either.
You said
I
CRT was in the schools. I asked for an example. You had to backtrack on that one.
Is
So
Project
far-
2025 not about getting rid of wokeness in our school? Because it
No.
definitely is.
No.
Yes, it is.
No, there
Oh
is
my
a
God! Never
small-
mind. You haven't read it.
You said, is Project 2025 about that? No. The answer is no. There are parts of Project 2025 that will
There's all
address
kinds of
that.
parts.
But do you know what they're actually trying to do, David? They're trying to get rid of
Yes, they're trying to give the president control.
They're trying to get rid of the Department of Education. They want.
I know that.
Yes, and you know who that's going to hurt?
No, we're gonna have charter schools.
Poor
It'll
people.
work.
Poor people. Underserved.
Poor people
communities.
get money too, bro. They get
No.
taxed.
No. They're advocating that they'll get less money. That schools in poor areas where they can't afford to go to a charter school, they can't afford to homeschool, those schools will get less funding than they have now.
Okay, in these metropolitan areas, yeah, I'm sure. Okay.
Yeah, so you're good with that?
No,
Yeah,
they're
your
gonna get
kids
more
are
money. I
important.
think.
Your kids are important, but fuck poor kids.
I think they're gonna get more money over there. Actually.
No, they're getting less.
No, they're
You
not.
didn't read Project 2025. They want to eliminate the Department of Education. They want to.
I know they want to eliminate it, but you'll
Yes.
get tax dollars. You'll get tax dollars for charter schools and
The
homeschooling and
states
stuff.
will get tax dollars. Then the states can decide how to use those tax dollars. But because they've put in laws saying charter schools can exist, the tax dollars will have to equally go to charter schools.
Yeah, good.
Great. So you're talking about wealthy parents being able to educate their kids with a high level education and poor parents not being able to educate their kids, exasperating the problems that we already have in this case. And by the way, when we're talking about rich and poor, we're talking about disproportionately affecting minority communities. Your party is racist. Your party is fascist. And the only reason you don't believe that is because Donald Trump doesn't show up and say, "I am a racist."
And you're an angry guy.
They just advocate for racist policies, and because the policy doesn't say, "Hey guys, by the way, this policy is racist," you just assume that it's not.
No, racists are gonna
aren't open. Racists
by
hide because they're
default.
cowards.
Racists by default, no matter what, they exist on the planet Earth. Okay, they're not going to be for the left because the left is for
don't vote
open
for
borders.
'em.
So
Don't
just
vote-
use your common, use your little brain you have there, and just understand that
I appreciate you saying that racists are.
No,
are
yeah,
a
you're right. You
right-wing
said
group.
something right.
I agree.
they
with you.
exist
said
in the
something
world.
right. Yeah,
No,
was,
but they
that was
exist in
true,
the world,
David.
and they're not going to be for the left because the left are for open borders. I mean, so
No, but you're talking. Okay, yes, there's those people. Listen, there's people in white nationalist, white supremacist groups, and yes, you are correct, David. They do all vote Republican, right? But
Yeah.
what we're talking about now is when you put policies in place.
But not all people.
Now we're
There's-
moving towards
but not all
systemic
people are that way.
racism. Okay, when you start legislating against communities, when you start through policy socially engineering groups where it makes it hard for them to
So many
thrive
things
or
I'm
survive in certain areas, now we are into systemic racism, which David, you yourself have agreed with me on many occasions exists.
of course it exists. It was done by the government. Of course it exists. How
Well,
would
your
somebody
party
not
doesn't-
understand it? I don't understand how people on my side don't know that. Just like there's
let me
racists on my side. I know that.
David, can I ask? Yeah, let me ask you a question. You said that the racists won't agree with the left because we want open borders. What is it
Yeah.
about the Republican Party that the racists like so much?
Well, no, it's just they're a human being and they're going to exist on this planet. Unless you eradicate them. There's racists on the left. There's just a different type of racist.
No, you just said they're not. So explain to me, like specifically white nationalists. What is it about the
Yeah,
Republican
why? That's
Party?
what I mean. Like what? Like,
what
like
is it about what is it about the Republican Party that they like so much? What makes them drawn to the Republican Party? Do you think?
I think it's the fact that they want to keep the borders closed. I mean, I think that's mostly
and
what
why
it
do
is.
they want the borders closed?
Because they're afraid that other race are gonna take over their race and they're gonna outdo them or something.
Now, do you?
But David, have the borders ever been closed? So can it be that only, David? Can it only be the borders of the borders?
No, it's not only that. But if you're going to go about racism for like the Caucasian races, I would say that they're not gonna follow the left. I mean,
let me just ask you some examples, David. Do you?
And they exist on planet Earth. I'm just being real. I like to be honest.
Hold on, David. Do you think?
Unlike you guys sometimes.
David, do you think that the racists would be in favor of teaching critical race theory?
Fuck, man. Do they have a stance on it? I don't know. I don't know if they have a stance.
You don't think racists have a stance about teaching education that puts racists in the light of being the bad guys?
Well, I think they're for teaching history, David. But not critical race theory.
Not the part that makes them look bad, right?
Well, I mean, dude, that's what I'm saying.
Racist, David.
It's slanted.
You don't need to defend racists right now. I'm not calling you a racist.
I'm not defending racists. I'm saying.
Then let's
because
be
that's
honest,
something
David.
I don't want either. I mean,
if you're racist, you don't want. Nobody wants to be exposed. Nobody wants to be exposed as a hateful person. We all. Right. None of us want that, including racists. So what are they? Are they going to come out and just say like, get rid of all minorities? No, they're going to.
But there's racists on the left. It's a different type of racism, though.
Hold on, they're going to side with the party that does the most to help them and keep minority communities at the very least separate, but at the most keep them down. They want that type of separation. So when you're talking about things like defunding the Department of Education, taking money from underserved communities, that's why the racists love you guys. That's why when you hear people talk about the replacement theory, that's why they love you. Because the policies that you advocate for are systemically racist. You yourself, David, can be non-racist, but advocate for policies that you're unaware are systemically racist. And that's why the racists stick with your party.
Why do we want to talk about it all the time, though? I don't understand that.
Because, David, your party is actively working to change our country and strip the rights away from people, from women, from minority groups, from the LGBTQ community. Think about it this way, David. When our country started, we had the option to give the rights to everyone.
Well, we're happy, I guess. You guys aren't.
Yeah, sure. When we started this country, David,
I'm very happy.
When we started this country, David, we had the opportunity to give the rights to everybody, but we didn't. We gave it to white men. So that means, David, that any action that we have made since then to give rights to anybody was argued by white men. White men have been since 1776.
Dude, I feel so sorry for you, honestly.
Since 1776, the people with rights have been
pathetic, dude.
Have been reluctant to give the rights to others. Is that not true, David?
Yeah, man. I mean, fucking bad white man, bad orange man.
So no, this isn't bad white man, David. This is I'm a white man. I'm just saying, I can look at this and say, from the beginning of our country until now, and including now, it has been people trying to get equal rights. And it has largely been up to white men whether or not certain people got rights. It's largely been their decision. And now what's happening, and the reason you keep hearing about replacement theory and CRT is because statistically, white men will no longer be the majority. And they're very afraid of what's going to happen because historically in this country, being a minority meant you were mistreated. So suddenly white men are like, oh shit, what if they treat us like we treated them? And so they are going to fight against giving freedom and rights to everybody else. You can laugh all you want about this, but it's dead right, David. It is dead right.
Dude, the only one that seems scared is you, bro. The only one that seems so scared and terrified is you.
I am very afraid of
David. Of course, this doesn't bother you, and you're like, "Who cares?" Of course, it doesn't affect you.
It does not bother me that the white man's going away, like he's making it seem. I mean,
well, it sure seems to bother a lot of Republicans. It bothers Charlie Kirk. It bothers Tim Pool.
It doesn't bother Charlie Kirk.
He talks. Want me to read his tweet from yesterday?
Yeah, I've seen some of the stuff
Charlie
he
Kirk
says.
talks about is how white people are going away, how they're being replaced. This is Charlie Kirk's main issue. It's the thing he cares about the most.
Well, is he wrong for wanting to keep his race intact? I mean, I don't know.
Not his race intact. Wait. Let's get this right. It was a good question, David, but let's make sure we get the word
Is he
right.
wanting to keep more white people populated or something?
Is he wrong?
There's nothing wrong with that. I mean,
there's nothing wrong with advocating that white people maintain their supremacy?
No, with maintaining population size, dude. I'm not saying for supremacy.
Yeah, that's how you have.
White people exist. They're going to be supremacists.
That's how you would.
Jesus Christ.
That's how you would maintain supremacy, David.
By a white man being here on planet Earth?
Yeah, that's what he's saying.
Oh my goodness.
This is what Charlie Kirk's saying. Don't laugh at me. This is what he's saying.
So what? He wants to keep the white population up. That doesn't mean white supremacy. Just because you're white doesn't mean make you white supremacist.
That's literally what it means, David.
No, it doesn't mean you're a white supremacist because you're white.
Why does he want more white people?
Dude.
Why?
Who cares?
No, but why?
So that way there's more. So that way there's white
Specifically,
people.
only white people.
Yeah,
Charlie Kirk wants.
Okay,
He wants to increase the white birth rate, David. Why
does he need more?
So
people,
what?
David? Why does he need more white people?
To maintain their majority or whatever.
Maintain their what?
Majority.
Why do they want a majority, David?
Or just even or whatever.
Why do they want a majority? Is it for like a class picture or what is it? Why do they want a majority?
Well, I mean, I maybe not majority, but maybe just in general keep the population up. It doesn't even have to be majority.
No. Well, no, he's specifically talking about a white population. So why does he specifically want to increase a white population, David?
Because he's concerned that the population of the white is going to become the minority.
And why is that concerning?
Because, technically, like what was the Caucasian?
Can I just ask?
Well, no, just hang on a second. Is it like, what if you were getting rid of a minority? Let's just say you were getting rid of a minority race, right? You were getting rid of them, okay? Mm-hmm. Would you say they were wrong by wanting to populate more?
No.
Okay, that's what I'm saying. Okay.
Who's trying to get rid?
You go ahead and try to put this white power narrative.
Wait, hold on, David. Who's trying to get rid of white people?
I don't think anybody is trying to get rid of them.
This doesn't work. This analogy doesn't work.
No, right? I don't think anybody is trying to get rid of them. I think it's by default it's happening.
No, David. Let's keep going down this road.
Doesn't matter to me personally. But
why is Charlie Kirk worried that white people will be the minority?
He just wants to. He's a white Caucasian. He's worried about his own race going away. I guess.
Why?
That's his personal concern. I guess.
You think it's just a personal concern?
It's an outspoken podcaster that wants to express his concern, just like you do.
And his concern is that that he's very concerned about the color of people's skin. He's very concerned about what color people's skin is. Why?
See, when I see him talk, I don't see that really. I really don't.
No, you don't get to bail on it now. I'm asking you why.
I'm not bailing on anything, dude. I think that there's nothing wrong with it.
Wait, so you think there's nothing wrong with advocating for white people
population of the white?
Yes.
No, I don't think so.
So that they're in the majority. Got it.
What? What Felice is shaking her head.
Why? No, now I'm asking David. Now I'm asking why.
Because I think that if you want to populate your race more, there's nothing wrong with that.
Why?
Whatever race you may be.
Why?
What do you mean why? Because if you feel
when you want to have children, why should you care?
There's lots of reasons. David, Caucasians don't have as many kids.
David, you have biracial children.
Yeah.
Charlie Kirk would not be a fan of that.
No, he's okay. He doesn't care what kind of kids you have.
Yes, he does. He wants more white children.
That doesn't mean he's against you having. No, that's not the truth, dude.
David, when he talks about the statistics, he doesn't talk about just immigration. He talks about the fact that there are more biracial and multiracial people, and that is getting rid of white people.
He said that's what's happening.
Yes,
but he says
he's worried about it. He's not saying this is.
If I say mostly black people play basketball, is that racist?
David, he's not.
Is that racist?
No, because when it becomes racist, David, is when you start saying we need to breed more.
Talking about what's happening is not racist. David, thank you.
Clear. But that's not what he's doing. He's not.
That
just
is what he's
saying,
doing.
No. If he was just saying, here's the demographics and how they're changing in this country, that's
Yeah,
fine.
let's have more white
He's
kids.
saying,
That's okay.
He's saying,
That's
here's
okay.
the demographics, here's how they're changing, and this is scary. We're being replaced. He keeps saying, we are being replaced. What does that mean? What does that mean?
It's part of fear mongering. No, I'll agree with you on one thing. It's part of fear mongering to get your sales on your fucking podcast.
Fear mongering of what?
Okay.
Fear mongering of what?
Race baiting.
What the people that he's fear mongering? So when you fear monger, you're trying to create fear in people. What fear is he trying to create in people?
That the white man's going away. I agree.
Okay,
with that.
and why would that work with Republicans? Why would a fear that there would be less white people work with Republicans?
Well, somebody like Charlie Kirk, he could be playing towards, I guess, getting the racists on his side. I guess that could be a ploy too.
They're already on his side. His job is to get clicks. His job is to get engagement, and he's been hired by the Republican Party to get voters. So who is he recruiting, David?
No, he's definitely recruiting some people that are racist. Yeah, some people that are racist. I agree with that.
And does it not cause you pause to say that
because they're going to follow that.
Potentially one of the top 3 or 4 most influential Republicans in this country is actively recruiting racists.
No, I'm saying some people are going to follow that are racist, of course.
No, you just
like
said,
people that support Black Lives Matter. Some people are racist.
No,
Same thing.
David. You said
you want to say Black Lives Matter doesn't pander to that. You're a lie.
David, you said
you're a lie.
You said he. David, don't do that dumb shit again. You said specifically, David, that he was targeting those people. You said that, not
just
me.
like Black Lives Matter. Yeah.
No, David, you said he was targeting those.
Same thing, bro. But Black Lives Matter is a lot larger.
Then what?
Than Charlie Kirk.
No.
Black Lives Matter has nothing to do with the white birth rate and trying to increase it.
No, Black Lives Matter is definitely larger than Charlie Kirk.
No, we're not leaving this subject.
Asking police officers to not disproportionately.
I think they pander towards racism.
We're not leaving this subject, David. I'm asking you again.
But I actually agree with the cause.
I'm asking you.
See, I'm more honest than you guys. That's the problem.
No, you're not. David, I'm asking you again.
I am.
Why is Charlie Kirk and Matt Walsh and Michael Knowles and Candace Owens.
Don't categorize them all into the one category, dude.
I'm picking.
Don't put a blanket statement over people.
Hold on.
That's a hypocrite. Don't be a hypocrite, bro.
No, you'll understand when I'm done. I didn't finish the sentence yet, David. You couldn't possibly know what I'm saying. And Steven Crowder, why are they all mirroring this type of messaging? Why are they all talking about the replacement theory?
Because I think telling the truth could pander to people. Just like Black Lives Matter.
Okay.
It's just the truth, bro. It's just the truth.
Wait, hold on. Do you know what the replacement
if you care about the truth.
Hold on. Do you know what the replacement theory is?
Yeah, I mean, of course, they're replacing you with another race.
Okay,
you know?
And so in order for there to be a replacement theory and this whole plan, then there has to be somebody behind this plan, right?
Yeah, there are people behind these kind of things.
Gotcha.
Though.
So who is behind this plan?
Individuals, groups in some cases.
What groups?
Well, I think
what groups can you think of off the top of your head that are advocating breeding out white people?
So even though they're the minority, there's white supremacists that are about that.
No, I'm asking you what people would be advocating that white people no longer.
I'm trying to give you your side here.
I don't need my side. I'm clear on my side. You do your side. I'll do
mine. White supremacists will definitely advocate for keeping their cult. I know it's not my side though, bro.
David, you didn't.
That's not my.
I don't think you're hearing my question, so I need you to stop talking while I ask the question because your answer doesn't make sense. Okay, David, who are these groups that are advocating that we get rid of the white race by breeding? Who are these groups?
Well, I think Charlie Kirk is advocating for more white people to be born.
No, David. Who are the people
that? So it's not following your narrative. Gotcha.
No, you're not following anything, David. If these people, we just agreed they're fear mongering, right? All of them are fear mongering, and they're trying to help. They're trying to scare people into being believing that they're being replaced. So in order for this to, like, one, what are they afraid of? Being replaced. Why? You can't seem to answer that. So now I'm going to ask, like, who is running this big conspiracy to replace them, and why are they running this conspiracy? So I need to know who is doing it and why they are doing it. Who is convincing all these people around the world to do exactly what you did, David, and make biracial babies? Who influenced you to have biracial children?
Sorry, my sister-in-law is there. I'm sorry.
You're good.
Hi, Sonia. So, I'm gonna have to come back, dude. I'm talking to my sister-in-law in Pakistan, dude. I'm sorry.
All right, bro.
I don't talk to her very much.
You're good.
See you later, man.
Wow, David's getting worse and worse every time we speak to him.
We're at the point
now he's
with
defending the replacement theory.
Yeah, we're at the point with David where he's an open fascist, saying like, yeah, we do need to be aware of this replacement theory. We do.
I can't believe I didn't know he was such a Charlie Kirk fan, but I guess with Dan Bongino, like if you're believing that the world's ending once a month, why not also support Charlie Kirk while you're at it, you know?
Yeah. Julie Laughing was waiting for a while. Julie, come on up.
It's not. It's Mishi.
Oh,
hey.
Mishi.
It's my backup for my backup.
Oh, hey. You're not back yet. You just show up every once in a while.
Yeah, I just kind of pop in. That was amazing.
It's nice to see you.
Yeah, nice to see you guys too. I requested so long ago about something completely different, but when I was a Republican, I kind of bought into that CRT crap.
Yeah, same.
Yeah.
And the replacement theory, like I would hear it and it just made sense. I did exactly what David did. I heard it. I was like, oh, that makes sense. And then I just went along my day. I never went any further than that to be like, wait, what happened?
No, I sounded like him. Like they're trying to teach kids this, and with no facts other than Fox News telling me it was happening. So I just believed it, and the more they told me, the more I believed it. And David's tough. I don't think you're going to get through to him.
Well, yeah, we're not. And this is when he said like I'm scared, I am, because look how quickly David went from being I'm just a patriot. I want what's best for America. I want low taxes. I want less regulation to I'm now a fascist and I'm cool with essentially like, look, if some of these people get in power, you think we're not talking about eugenics? You think we're not talking about like
social engineering is one of America's favorite hobbies. That's what the Heritage Foundation is, a think tank about social engineering. So yeah, like I mean eugenics, was studied here.
It's like a month ago we were like, David, Trump's a fascist. And he's like, no, he's not. And we're like, well, if he's a fascist, would you support him still? He's like, no. And then a month later, he's a fascist. And David's like, yeah, I love fascism. I'm here for it.
As Trump radicalizes and normalizes this speech involving violence and the fascist rhetoric, like it's becoming more normal to David. And he's even defending it now. Like, yeah, it doesn't take David long. Something will sound outrageous to him. Or if you just replace the word Trump with Joe Biden, he'll be like, no, that's not okay. Like, Joe Biden can't take all the power. Like, he does it. It's just Trump. It's just focused on getting Trump into power and letting him do whatever he wants.
Well, I was going to say that. Like, would they be totally fine with Joe Biden having more executive power? Probably not.
Well, the thing is, that's hard about David is David will be like, yeah. Or maybe not. Maybe he'd just be like, no, but that's why Trump needs it. It's a weird thing. Like, the amount of trust I would have to have in somebody to give them that much power over my life. Like there's nobody I know, even the people I trust the most, that I would give that much power to, like just universal power. And you have millions of Americans willing to hand it over to somebody who's done nothing but lie to them for 7-8 years now, who they don't know, they shouldn't be able to trust because he lies to them, and they're just willing. That shows you like how fragile our democracy can be. That if enough people decide that they don't want democracy anymore, it's over. You can just end it. If enough people vote for Donald Trump, imagine if Donald Trump won overwhelmingly. Imagine he sweeps through these swing states. He wins Florida, Arizona, Ohio, Pennsylvania, Michigan, Wisconsin. Like, imagine the economy takes a shit the next year and you have enough people that are willing to vote for Donald Trump and it's a landslide. We are in fascism. There are millions of people, like people that have to move. Me doing this every day, it's done. I would not be allowed to do this every day.
Absolutely not.
I would be targeted. What I said would become unlawful. They would come after me with law enforcement. Like for those of us on the left, we're talking. If Joe Biden wins, the people on the right, you guys are going to be pissed. You're going to be frustrated. If Trump wins, a lot of us on the left are in trouble, like actual physical trouble. and
No,
we're way
We're
down the list.
dissidents.
Yeah, we're way down the list, but it wouldn't take long to get to us.
No, and
We qualify for asylum in other countries.
police. And I think they're normalizing the violence too, that it's okay to have a violent reaction to his rhetoric. And I think that's what's concerning me over the next year. Honestly.
Yeah, there's that. You probably saw this, Mishi, the Supreme Court hearing the case that it would undo the riot charges for the January 6 people, specifically the charge of obstruction of an official proceeding. So essentially now the Supreme Court is hearing a case, and the Republicans are arguing that obstruction of an official proceeding should be eliminated, that should no longer be a law, and that we should eliminate that law and retroactively release anybody who broke that law. Like, this is just fascism right in front of our face. And if you get rid of this law, what do you think happens if Trump loses in 2024? What do you think happens in these state races if this law does it? No more law? You're just allowed to obstruct an official proceeding?
Well, flip that. If Biden loses, why can't we then behave the same way they did? They have to be careful what they wish for, you know?
The short answer is we won't. That's the short answer. You know what I mean?
True.
Like, I don't have a lot of hope that the left would rally like that. We don't have the Supreme Court to back us up. Donald Trump will certainly weaponize, like, he'll certainly put only yes men in place in the military and the Department of Justice. Like, it doesn't matter how many people we have. At that point, if Project 2025 is rolled out the way they want to, like, we don't have a say. We no longer have a say in this country.
Well, I requested like an hour ago when you were talking about presidential candidates, including Biden. Here's my biggest concern, and I believe the long game on Biden, but what if Trump is found guilty of a felony and the RNC, he has to stay, there's pressure, he has to step down, and they put in, I don't know, DeSantis or Nikki. Then I get a little bit more concerned about the matchups against Biden.
Yeah, I saw today, Trump has a 4-point lead on Biden. In that same poll, Nikki Haley has a 17-point lead on Biden.
This is what I've been saying, is I think that I don't understand why they're not, a lot of them are, the true conservatives that I was never really a MAGA Trumper. They see that Nikki Haley is their win in the White House, but they're not willing to put her in because of Trump.
Well, also because woman.
But don't you think that, but don't you think the RNC could pressure him or take him off the ballot and put in a Nikki and then a Nikki Biden?
Well, they're working. The establishment doesn't want Biden or Trump to be the candidate. Like that, they don't want to, but they also want power more than they want to go against the populace. Like, Trump is far. If he had a smaller lead, if it was closer, I think the establishment and Leonard Leo, I think they would move to make Trump not the candidate. I mean, the people have essentially spoken, and what the Republicans want more than anything is to win. They want power. So can they displace Trump with Nikki Haley? I don't think so at this point. But all of the billionaires, the donor class, the 1% have signaled now Nikki Haley's the candidate. It was DeSantis. He can't control his face, He's not the guy. That's become old pudding fingers, can't do it. And now they're backing Nikki Haley. That's why she has this insane ad revenue now. You can't go anywhere without seeing a Nikki Haley ad now. That's because the Coke pack has backed her.
That's what I'm seeing in my town is Nikki Haley. I get more Nikki Haley ads. And I get a lot of anti-Trump ads from Republicans as well. But
that's the problem is, obviously you've taken, I hate to tell you this, but in the time that you've taken away from TikTok, Trumpers are still not actively looking to accept facts or truth. They're still not doing that. And that's the thing. Like, I don't know that the Republican Party can do anything. Trump's base is too big and too stupid, and they're so I'm going to stop saying stupid. Actually, I'll try and be more fair. They have been conditioned that everything they hear that's negative is a lie. And they believe that. They honest to God believe that if there's something negative, it must be a lie. And so they're going to stay with Trump no matter what. It doesn't matter if we tell them that he's a fascist and he's running on it. They're like, no, that's a lie. And if it isn't a lie, then it's the right thing to do. And there's too many of them for anybody in the Republican Party to overcome. This is what happens when you allow somebody to lie for 4 years and then try and overthrow an election and allow them to lie about that and run cover for them for 3 more years. This is the bed that they made, but this is unfortunately what we've been warning about since the start of Donald Trump, is that he will lead us to fascism, whether it's him or somebody else.
Here's my question then for you two, especially because you run a great live here, is who do you speak to? Do you bring David up to just show the ignorance of MAGA and hopefully no, seriously, because I mean, the capitalism is capital. I mean, do you bring him up as an example so that conservative Republicans, old school Republicans look at that and go, I don't want to be a part of that?
No, there's many. David actually is if you speak to David about the economy, he's almost a leftist. Like David about the economy is a different person. If you specifically just debate with him, like how should our country work? How should the economy work? It's a whole different conversation. David is a Trump loyalist specifically. Any ideology that Trump introduced, David would back. David loves Donald Trump. He idolizes him almost explicitly. Like he got by a PR campaign. So yeah, I mean, it's two different things. But also, like your question to me is, no, I'm not trying. It's not for us to change someone's mind. Only an individual can change their mind. Like all I can do is cast doubt or say, like as a former teacher, like, have you thought about this? What do you think about this? I mean, as a teacher, I'm not looking to tell students essentially what they think or what they should think. I want them to think. Period.
So are we better off spending time with people like David or people who literally are?
Well, I think everyone in their life has people like David. And I think a lot of people on the internet, like I'm saying, like, how do you handle objection? How do you handle cognitive dissonance? How can you cast doubt? How can you poke holes? Like, I think that for me, it's just an exercise in how do you have these conversations? My end goal is never I need to change someone's mind. Everyone has to think what I think. I can just say, here's how I see things.
I'm a little bit maybe more like you, Mishi. Like I do, there's two things that come to mind. Number one, we have a hard time getting up opposition in the morning anyways. You could go on any show. It's difficult to find opposition in the morning, especially when we've been doing it this long. It's the same people over and over. Eventually you just run out of people. But for me, I just want to draw, a contrast. I want to have that discussion. And while I know that like David's mind likely won't be changed, just like Jeff's mind wasn't going to be changed. What is that? Do you have goats? What is that? Is that a goat?
That's my cat meowing.
Wow. Your cat is aggressive.
I know. He's little. He's so small too. It's like you would never know why he sounds like that.
Yeah. So for me, it's just important to try and draw that distinction when I can. Hopefully there's some people that are in the middle that can see that this guy that came up and David has some influence, and David is looked up to by some of these Trumpers. It's important for me that when they come up, you do see like this person. They don't know what capitalism is. They don't know what critical race theory is. They don't know what fascism is. They don't know it. They don't know what any of the terms they're talking about actually are. And I just hope that there's people in the middle who can recognize that this is just a game. It's the wool being pulled over their eyes. None of them can give you answers. None of them can tell you what words mean. And so for me, like when I bring up David, I know there's like a collective groan in those of you who are here every single day. But for me, it's just important to try and draw that line as much as I can. And frankly, to be aware of what they're saying over there. Like, I don't want to just spend all day on Rumble trying to figure out what the fuck they're talking about. Dave comes in hot and tells us what they're talking about.
You know me, I do spend time on Rumble just to watch Junior's podcast. But Truth Seeker is trying to say that we're sowing fear. No, we are not. We are poking holes in a narrative. Like one of my favorite narratives of like Republicans is when you get the people who are like, I'm for small government. I'm a conservative. I don't want to spend. I'm tired of spending all this money. It's like, if you know anything about the Republican Party, they are not the party of small government. They're not conserving any money.
Yeah. Also, if we're sowing fear, and the things that we're saying are true, like Donald Trump's running on fascism, they want to abolish the Department of Education. They want to take over the FCC, the FTC, the FEC. That they essentially want to centralize all their power into one person. Yeah, like that. You should be afraid of that. There's nothing wrong with saying things that are scary when they're true. The problem is the other side is running completely on fear. And when we broke that down with David, it seemed to be just a bunch of racists fear-mongering that there would be less white people. That was it. So I don't mind using fear. I don't mind talking about things that are scary as long as they're factual. That's not fear mongering. That's just me saying, like, check this out. Isn't this scary?
Yeah, it's like we should just be quiet, truth seeker, and wake up in fascism. No, thank you.
Yeah, I don't know what you guys...
We all have to dig our heels in and pull the country back left.
I don't know what you guys think is going to happen. I don't know why you think this is a good deal for you Trump supporters. Just so we're clear. Fascism does not go well. Fascism, what happens with fascism is the power gets to the top, and great. Your kids, if you're in a red state, there's a good chance if Trump's president, your kids won't ever have to hear anything about what it means to be trans. But 30 years from now, your kids also won't have any rights. Your kids will just going to be in an oligarchy. They'll work for shit wages. They'll have no savings. They'll have no real freedom because nobody will ever give the power back. And there is nobody on this earth that should ever be given the amount of power that they are advocating giving to Donald Trump. I don't care whoever you think the best person is on earth, that person should not be given the power that they're advocating given to Donald Trump. Nobody should have that amount of power. Power corrupts every time. Every time it corrupts.
Absolutely. And people who seek that much power, you have to ask yourselves why. Because, yeah, like I know wholeheartedly I don't want it and shouldn't have it. And people who feel otherwise, you need to wonder why. Except Mitt Romney, someone said.
Yeah,
Except
yeah,
Mitt.
that's right.
Mitt wouldn't take it, though.
He wouldn't, because he's too good. He's too pure.
Oh, my God.
But honestly,
get you to meet Mitt.
Oh, please. He's not going to be at America Fest, damn it.
I know. He would never.
Popular. But that's something you should look at in all aspects of your life. We should all look at that in all the aspects in our lives. Power imbalances. They're never healthy. If you have a power imbalance with somebody else, even if you're the one with the power, you should fix that. You should rectify that. Power imbalances are always unhealthy. It's just that a lot of times people don't want to let go of power because they're afraid that somebody else will use power against them. And that's really what's at play here with the Republicans. The Republicans are telling you that we're all coming after your kids, we're coming after your guns, we're coming after your wallets, we're attacking you, we're bringing in immigrants, we're coming after you. And so the only way for you guys to stop this is to coalesce around one person, and that big strong guy who shits his pants is going to show up and he's going to fight for you and he's going to give your rights back. And then when he's done with that after a day, everything's going to go back to normal. You guys can't be this dumb. You can't. This is what every fascist dictator in the history of our country has said. I just need power for just a minute. Just a minute. And then like 10 years later...
Just till I fix things. Just till I get everything back on track.
10 years later, we're genociding people. It's just like you don't look what's happening right now in Israel. Look what's happening with Ukraine and Russia. Look what's happening all around this world. Look what's happening at our southern border. When you wind up with this power and you use people as fear tactics, as you say, like these people are replacing you, these people are going to attack you, you then start to be able to justify atrocities, justify hatred, justify violence, justify bigotry, justify racism. That's your modern Republican Party. They've run out of ideas, so they have to scare you, and once they scare you, then you can justify all sorts of awful things. If you think for 1 second that the Republican Party isn't completely run by white nationalists now, at least their ideologies, you're out of your fucking mind. It's on the debate stage now. They all think that the replacement theory is here. They all think they're just coming after white folks. That's what we've got right now. We have a minority, or soon to be a minority, trying desperately to hold on to power because they're a little afraid that because they abused their power for so long that there may be some retribution. And you know what's crazy? The Democrats aren't even advocating for retribution. We're still just advocating for the same things. We're still advocating that you treat people the same regardless of what gender they are, regardless of their sexuality, their race, their religion. We're still advocating for the same thing. You don't hear any of us advocating that we come in and we take the rights and privileges away from white people. You're just being told that so that they can get control. We're not your enemies, guys. We're not. I want you to have the rights that you have. I just want you to also think that everybody else should have the same rights you have, and stop being tricked into being racists, into being bigots. Like, you are the ones that are being fear-mongered at, and it turns you into ugly people. I honestly believe, had David not been a political person, he would not hold virtually any of these views. Again, he has biracial children. I agree. And I bet he loves his children. I bet he's a good dad.
So.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know. It's just like when you look at the facts, it doesn't make any sense. Like, it's just about like there's not a finite amount of freedom. It's like when you look at the Republican viewpoint, the replacement theory. It's like saying, hey, if I give other people their rights, I will have less rights. Like, that's not the reality. You're not losing freedom to give other people their freedom.
As they say, Cody says on Sister Wives, love should be multiplied, not divided.
Not divided. I love Sister Wives.
Sister Wives, by the way,
TV.
Who saw Sister Wives becoming like this women's empowerment reality TV show?
Oh my God, it's gotten dark.
Yeah, it went from like Cody's running shit to these women like, all right, listen, motherfucker.
They're just like, F this piece. Like, he's lost everyone except Robin. He's literally lost all his wives. The show is just them to shit talking him. Like, this is what I'm saying. If you guys ever get a little depressed, just watch reality TV. And then you'll immediately be like, oh, it could get so much worse. I could have a camera crew following me around while I look stupid.
I could lose not one, not two, but 3 wives. I could lose 3
on
of them.
TV.
Yeah.
Over a decade-long period.
And by the way, I taught my kid. I raised my kids according to God's plan, and wouldn't you know it, a bunch of them turned out gay anyways. I guess it didn't work. I guess none of this was working out. I lost my wives. Some of my kids are gay. None of them waited till they got married before they had sex. Yeah, it was a disaster for him. It was a disaster.
Not one of them wants to live polygamy. They're all just like, no thanks. Yeah. I grew up in this family.
Okay, that's my hard cutoff. Felice, well done today. Well done.
Oh, no, you well done. You were great today.
We will see you guys tomorrow morning. I want to give a special, just a shout out to Whisper. You guys may have caught his concert last night, but our YouTube, you'll notice on our YouTube page, there's a lot more videos and clips coming out. And we're going to try some different things. So some of the clips, like, it's going to be hit and miss on what we throw out there, but Jake has spent hour after hour after hour sitting in front of his computer, editing clips, making sure they're posted, scheduling out the posts on YouTube, while he also does the merchandise. So while that doesn't necessarily mean a lot to you guys, because the content's just there, and I don't expect you all to love Jake, I just want to say publicly, Jake, I appreciate all the work that you're putting in. None of us, look, we hope someday to get paid by YouTube for what we're doing. We're not paid. This is all actually us caring about what we're talking about, caring about being advocates, and caring about making a change. And so to Jake, thank you. And then to the mods, I don't know if all the mods are here. We've added a few pragmatics, travel. What's that? Whole. Yeah, that's right. We made Whole a mod, which is insane. I still don't know why I did that, but Whole, Travel Casey, pragmatics, and Just Kim. Just Kim, I think, was already a mod in here, but now in the Discord. So thank you guys for the support. If you run across Jake, tell him great job, and we'll see you guys tomorrow morning, 8:30 a.m. to 1 p.m. Pacific, or noon Pacific Standard Time. And then I believe, Felice, are you going to go live Friday night as well?
Yeah.
Okay, I will not be there this weekend, but you can catch Felice Friday and Saturday night with our good friend Nemo, our favorite Georgian.
Exactly. Thanks, Jake.
Yeah. See you guys.
Bye, guys.